Hello there and welcome to Kakaaki, the African Voice. This Friday, you are live on Africa Independent Television AIT, reaching you live from the Paduma Hill Studios here in Asokoro, in the heart of Abuja, Nigeria's capital. My name is Kunle Adewale, and this is a good place to say Ramadan Mubarak. Yes, that's the word. I was looking for it.
Yeah, Ramadan Mubarak to every of Muslim faithful, and of course every Nigerian who is resting at home today. We're here to do what we know how to do best. That is to keep you informed about every development around the world and in Nigeria's polity. My name is Nkoli Omodu. Always a pleasure to have you join us.
Yes, we are happy to have you. Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
You look good.
Trying to be like you.
You know, when I saw you come in, I was actually thinking, is this the vice president of Nigeria? You're looking almost like him.
No way.
Anyways.
All right. I know you're on holiday wherever you're watching us from here in Nigeria. And if you're watching us from outside Nigeria, well, maybe it's a working day for you. But then let's tell you what we have on the table for this morning. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu rounded off on Thursday what can be described as a whirlwind two-day official visit to the United Kingdom.
Whirlwind, indeed, as the president concluded the trip with a packed itinerary, which included a meeting with British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. And the meeting culminated in the signing of various memoranda of understanding and agreements, including those on trade, investment, defense, and cultural cooperation.
Our major highlight was the signing of a £746 million financing agreement between UK Export Finance, the Nigerian Ports Authority, and the Federal Ministry of Finance.
Well, the deal will fund the refurbishment of two key maritime infrastructures, that is, the Lagos Port Complex, Apapa Keys, and the Tin Can Island Port Complex. Other deals were signed in the trade and security sectors.
President Tinubu also met with representatives of the Nigerian community in the United Kingdom.
Well, aside his wife, Oluremi, President Tinubu was also accompanied by a high-profile delegation, including the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Attorney General and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi, Minister of Solid Minerals Dele Alake, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu.
Other members of the delegation include the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, the Minister of Trade, Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduoli, and the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa.
Powerful delegation, if you ask me.
Yes.
Well, AIT's Ijoma Osamo has been monitoring developments closely, and she'll be joining us later on the program for more on the second day, and of course, a general overview of President Tinubu's visit.
Okay, let's, when we are done with that, we'll talk about something else that affects tens of thousands of women who are living with a devastating childbirth injury that many see as a life sentence.
Yes, it's called vesicovaginal fistula, commonly known as VVF, which leaves women in the continent socially isolated and often abandoned by their families.
Yeah. Doctors say, however, that the condition is both preventable and treatable. And now, an initiative that was birthed in Jos, Plateau State, has been working to change the narrative for survivors.
Okay, so if it is working, why have people been dying? So to tell us more about VVF, its prevention and care, we're joined on Kakaaki this Friday by Dr. Hannah Dege.
Yes, Dr. Dege is an associate professor at the University of Nottingham in the United Kingdom.
Okay, we'll leave that again and we'll go to something else that also concerns mostly women, even though skincare is supposed to be about everyone. Well, across Nigeria, the booming skincare industry continues to spark conversations about beauty, health, and identity.
From markets and beauty stores in Lagos to cosmetic shops in the nation's capital here in Abuja, skincare and skin lightening products have become a major part of everyday beauty routines.
So skincare products can be highly effective when properly formulated and, of course, used correctly, and can be highly destructive when inappropriately applied.
Now, the pros and cons of skincare products engages our attention today, and we'll be joined by beauty product developer and cosmetic chemist Tunmise Ademujimi.
Well, we'll also have our Dr. Deborah Omale, a consultant cosmetologist, join us for that particular conversation.
Looks like today's show is designed completely for women.
Yes, indeed. By gender. We're important, aren't we?
Yeah, not important, vital.
Vital. All right, so we'll be talking about all of this, and you will be sure to be part of this by sending your views, your comments through all our social media handles on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube at Africa Independent Television or Africa Independent TV, so you can stay up to date with the latest news from around the world.
All right, talking about the latest news from around the world, it is time for the Kakaaki World News. Let's go to the news desk now.
The issues as they break, the multitude, the political figures, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
And our government seem to be incapable of protecting.
The scheming.
This is not a period we should say bow and go.
Every part of this country is important.
The intrigues.
There can be no one person that is bigger than the party.
Deft moves and the momentous declaration.
We didn't get any protection. I'm not particularly against anybody.
We track and capture them all.
I don't believe we go for that reason in politics.
Follow in-depth analysis and no-holds-barred interviews.
Armed forces of the country is well capable. They need the political will.
Are they just waking up from sleep? Is there complacency?
Feel the pulse of happenings in the political arena on AIT Democracy Today. Widely acclaimed authority on politics. Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time.
Thank you for staying with us on Kakaaki, the African Voice. This is the World News, and we begin from Palestine, where at least 3 women have been killed and 8 more were injured when a beauty salon in the Israeli-occupied West Bank was hit during an Iranian missile attack. Israeli military and the Red Crescent Society told the media that the incident happened in the town of Beit Awa near Hebron when the women were killed by a direct hit from a cluster ammunition missile. The Israeli medics said the women are the first Palestinians killed in the West Bank as a result of the Iran war, while at around the same time, a Thai worker was also killed from shrapnel, which hit a farming community in Israel. The Israeli military had said it was working to intercept an Iran military attack, an Iranian missile attack. Shortly before the strikes, the salon was in a prefabricated metal structure close to a house. Locals said a bomb or part of a bomb landed yards away and ricocheted into the salon. A group of women were gathered on steps nearby waiting to have their nails done ahead of the Eid al-Fitr holiday when the explosion happened. The walls and doors were rigged with holes, while a large hole in the wall of the building showed where shrapnel blew out in the women's direction. Inside was a scene of destruction. Wafa identified those killed in the salon as Maiz Ghazi Masalme, 17, Sahira Rizks Masalme, 50, and Amal Sobi Abdelkarim Matawa Masalme, 36. Meanwhile, the Israeli military released a video on Thursday that it claimed showed strikes on Iranian military vessels and command centers. The Israeli army said in a statement that it had struck key Iranian Navy infrastructure in the Caspian Sea, including Iranian Navy missile ships, support boats, and guard ships, as well as a port command center for the Iranian naval forces, and central infrastructure used for vessel repair. More than 1,300 people in Iran have been killed during the war. Israeli strikes against the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militant group in Lebanon have displaced more than 1 million people, roughly 20% of the population, according to the Lebanese government, which says more than 1,000 people have been killed. In Israel, 15 people have been killed by Iranian missile fire. 4 people were also killed in the occupied West Bank overnight by an Iranian missile strike. Iran's capital, Tehran, remains far from its pre-war bustle, but no longer as deserted as more people and cars returned to the streets a day before the Persian New Year, the Nowruz. Israel has been pounding the Iranian capital since February 28, and many people have stayed home to avoid safety risks. Now, a day ahead of Nowruz, people were seen shopping for flowers, grain, sprouts, and goldfish, regular items for the Iranian New Year table. Highways and streets were lined with portraits of Iran's former and current supreme leaders amid the ongoing war with the United States and Israel. The war started with a lightning strike that killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and a number of his top commanders and family members. His son, Mojtaba, succeeded him after surviving the attack. The new supreme leader is yet to appear in public. More than 1,300 people in Iran have been killed during the war. Now let's go to the United States, where the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, slammed Republicans and the Trump administration over funding for TSA employees and what Jeffrey called President Trump's war of choice on Thursday. House Democrats have turned to signing a petition that would force the House to take up a bill to fund the TSA and other DHS agencies. But the bill would not fund Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Customs and Border Protection, and the Office of the Secretary. Republicans have consistently refused at this point in time to enact the type of bold, meaningful, and dramatic changes to ICE that are necessary to get ICE under control. That's what Jeffries said. Most such petition efforts are unsuccessful, but Democrats recently used a discharge petition to force a vote on requiring the Department of Justice to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. If all of the Democrats in the House sign the petition, then they would need just 4 Republicans to sign on to force a vote. Republicans, on the other hand, argue that Homeland Security needs to be fully operational during a heightened level of security, and that Democrats can't fund it using a piecemeal approach. Jeffries also predicted that Democrats will bring another war powers resolution up for a vote to oppose the administration's military campaign against Tehran. President Donald Trump invoked Pearl Harbor while defending the U.S. strike on Iran and his decision not to alert allies in advance, saying during a meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. The president was pressed in the Oval Office why he did not coordinate or inform allies, such as Japan, that he was planning to strike Iran. Trump, as he has repeatedly done since the war in Iran began, said it was needed to maintain the element of surprise. The December 7, 1941 Japanese bombing of the U.S. Navy base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii killed more than 2,300 Americans, with the U.S. declaring war against Japan the next day. Now let's go to the UK, and King Charles has inaugurated a new footpath stretching around the entire coast of England. At 2,689 miles long, it is the longest managed coastal walking route in the world, according to Natural England, the government body which created it. Its name is quite a trek too, King Charles III England Coast Path. But for the first time, it creates a continuous trail allowing walkers to explore England's shoreline step by step. Along the way, it passes through some of the country's most beautiful and varied landscapes, from salt marshes and sandy beaches to cliffs, dunes, and historical coastal towns. Among the highlights is the iconic chalk downland in the Seven Sisters in East Sussex, which also forms part of a newly designed National Nature Reserve being announced by Natural England. The King inaugurated the coastal path and the new nature reserve at a reception hosted by the South Downs National Park Authority. He later walked a section of the newly completed path at Seven Sisters, joined by Natural England Chair Tony Juniper and Environment Secretary Emma Reynolds. Juniper said the path is a testament to how public enjoyment, conservation, heritage, history, and community can come together, helping make life better for millions of people. Back here in Nigeria, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amukpiton, has expressed concerns about the growing trust gap between the Commission and the Nigerian public. Speaking during a courtesy visit by the Executive Committee of the INEC Press Corps in Abuja, Amukpiton urged the media to play a pivotal role in rebuilding confidence ahead of upcoming elections. The meeting marks Amukpiton's first formal engagement with the media group since succeeding Professor Mahmoud Yakubu as head of the Commission. The INEC chairman commended journalists for their professionalism and sustained commitment, while stressing the need for deeper collaboration in communicating the transparency and integrity of Nigeria's electoral processes to citizens across the country. Leading delegation, the chairman of the INEC Press Corps, Segun Ojumo, described the INEC chairman's stewardship of the commission as reassuring. He emphasized that elections in Nigeria remain a complex logistical undertaking that requires synergy among all stakeholders, particularly the media, to ensure credibility and success. The engagement comes at a critical period as INEC intensifies preparations for a demanding electoral calendar under the provisions of the newly enacted Electoral Act 2026. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu met with United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer in a high-level bilateral engagement aimed at strengthening ties between the two countries. The meeting comes on the second and final date of President Tinubu's state visit to the United Kingdom. Thursday's meeting culminated in the signing of various memoranda of understanding and agreements, including those on trade, investment, and defense and cultural cooperation. AIT's Joma Samo, who is in the UK, has more.
It's been a whirlwind 2 days for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu as they conclude a 2-day state visit to the United Kingdom. On Wednesday, they were received by the King Charles III and Queen Camilla at the historic 900-year-old Windsor Castle, the traditional home of the British monarch. Later in the evening, they were feted at a lavish state banquet attended by some of the most powerful figures in both Nigeria and British societies. And today, it was time to get to signing deals and memoranda.
I believe firmly that when rain clouds gather, we can tighten the grip of friendship between us and, in so doing, reinforce the central role of the Commonwealth in our shared future. We can learn from Nigeria and the best of the UK and Nigeria's partnership and harness the advantage that comes from our common languages, our similar legal systems, and the web of cultural ties and spiritual connections that provide such deep trust between us.
It is particularly historic. Windsor has stood as a symbol of continuity, witnessing the steady evolution of institutions that have shaped governance, culture, and public life, not only in Britain, but far beyond these shores.
President Tinubu arrived at number 10 Downing Street, the home of the British Prime Minister, posed at the famous Black door for pictures and a handshake with Prime Minister Keir Starmer before both men ducked inside to begin their meeting. The visit underscores a growing economic partnership with bilateral trade now at the record level of about $10.7 billion a year, and Nigerian companies expanding operations in Britain. Today, both countries committed to deepening bilateral relations, attracting foreign investment, and modernizing key infrastructure to support economic growth. A major highlight was the signing of a £746 million financing agreement between the UK Export Finance, the Nigerian Ports Authority, and the Federal Ministry of Finance. The deal will fund the refurbishment of two key maritime infrastructure, the Lagos Port Complex, Apapa Quays, and the Tinkan Island Port Complex. Other deals were signed in the trade and security sectors. This visit comes at a pivotal moment in Nigeria-Britain relations. The United Kingdom remains one of Nigeria's key partners in trade, defense, and development. But beyond economics, the relationship is deeply rooted in history, shaped by colonial rule that ended in 1960 and sustained today by strong diaspora connections. Analysts are describing it as a recalibration of that relationship from one defined by history to one increasingly driven by mutual economic interest and global positioning. For the UK, strengthening ties with Africa's largest economy support its post-Brexit strategy of expanding global trade links. For Nigeria, closer engagement offers investment opportunities and access to international financial markets. However, the relationship is not without its tensions. Issues such as governance concerns, security challenges, and different political narratives continue to shape perceptions on both sides. Notably absent from the visit schedule is a meeting with the UK opposition leader, Kemi Badenoch, who, although of Nigerian descent, has previously been critical of Nigeria's governance record. President Tinubu was accompanied by a high-profile delegation, including the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, the Minister of Solid Mineral, Dele Alake, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu. Other members of the delegation include the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Uduwole, and the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa. Ijoma Osamo, Downing Street, London.
Nigeria is experiencing a surge in terror attacks, the latest being the triple explosions in the Borno State capital, Maiduguri, which claimed over 23 lives and left more than 100 injured. The incident forced a barrage of directives from the president for the service chiefs to relocate to the area of conflict to restore sanity, not just in Borno, but the northeast and the northwest. But the question remains, why the sudden surge in insecurity at a time when it appeared authorities were getting a handle on the situation? AIT News correspondent Hassa Kodi has a story.
Just as Nigerians felt the country's security forces were turning the heat on insurgents and criminals operating in the northeast and the northwest, Monday's terror in Maiduguri jolted many to the unrelated nature of the war against terror. Records indicate an uptick in violence in the last 2 weeks. It began with target strikes on military formations in the northeast, claiming the lives of several soldiers and high-ranking commanders. It peaked on Wednesday as multiple blasts tore through the city, leaving 108 survivors struggling with life-altering injuries.
I don't see the problem going away because Ramadan has come and gone, or the problem going away because political season is over. We must do the heavy lifting of strength to secure our country.
When the 17 of Isuwa fighters entered Maiduguri, it was on public domain. Are you trying to tell me they have not heard about it? But I understand the handicap of the military.
Security analysts point to a familiar vulnerability of the security's porous borders, with neighbors struggling against their own insurgencies. Nigeria's frontier remains a revolving door for terror.
We suspect some areas between Niger and Mali in the region of Menaka, in a place they call it Efogas Mountain. As I'm taking to the Boko Haram still receive their training in those areas. All these borders, they are very porous.
But authorities insist they have changed strategy and that more terrorists are being eliminated and their assets destroyed. On why there appears to be a surge in attacks by terrorists, Defense Minister Christopher Musa recently attributed it to the erroneous belief that insurgents that dying during the warfare in the holy month of Ramadan would bring them greater reward. Experts are now questioning the political will behind the fight, suggesting that without a shift in strategy, the cycle of violence will only continue.
This problem has become a commercialized criminal enterprise. People are after our natural resources. Our mineral resources is at the center of this insecurity that you see in northern Nigeria, whether it is banditry or kidnapping for ransom or hostage taking, is become a commercialized criminal enterprise.
Nigeria is now fighting on multiple fronts: suicide bombing in the northeast, banditry and kidnapping in the northwest, and armed robbery nationwide. Critics warn that unless government moves beyond rhetoric by securing borders, cutting off terror financiers, and deploying high-tech intelligence, the cloud of insecurity may remain. Haz Akodi, AIT News, Abuja.
And that's the world news on Kakaaki, the African Voice. But stay with us. We have more reports for you on Kakaaki Business.
Welcome to Kakaaki Business. I am Olamide Ario. The United Kingdom unemployment rate remained unchanged at 5.2% in the 3 months to January 2026, below expectations of 5.3%, but still at its highest level since the 3 months to February 2021. Total unemployment rose by 37,000 quarter-on-quarter to 1.869 million, driven by increases among those unemployed for 6 to 12 months and over 12 months. Compared with the same period last year, unemployed was up 323,000. Meanwhile, total employment increased by 84,000 to 34.310 million, pushing the employment rate up by 0.2 percentage points to 75.1%. The number of people holding second jobs remained largely unchanged at 1.302 million, representing a 3.8% of those in employment. The economic inactivity rate fell by 0.3 percentage points to 20.7%, with the number of inactive individuals decreasing by 99,000 to 8.999 million. The Bank of England unanimously voted to keep the bank rate at 3.75% in March 2026, as the conflict in the Middle East has caused a sharp rise in global energy and commodity prices, pushing up household fuel and utility costs and raising business expenses. Prior to this shock, domestic prices and wages had been showing continued disinflation. The MPC is closely monitoring the risk of second-round effects on wages and prices, which could increase the longer energy costs remain high. Recent data showed headline inflation at 0.1% in February, with medium-term pressures largely unchanged. Higher energy prices are expected to push CPI to between 3% and 3.5% over the next few quarters, though a slowdown in economic activity from rising costs could limit second-round effect. The committee will continue to assess developments in the Middle East and global markets, ready to adjust policy as needed to maintain price stability and support sustainable growth. And the European Central Bank kept interest rates unchanged at its March 2026 meeting, reaffirming its commitment to stabilizing inflation at 2% in the medium term. The main refinancing rate remains at 2.15%, with the deposit facility at 2.0% and marginal lending at 2.4%. Policymakers highlighted that the Middle East war has significantly increased uncertainty, creating upside risk for inflation and downside risk for growth. The ECB raised its inflation forecast, particularly for 2026, due to higher energy prices driven by the Middle East war. Headline inflation is now projected at 2.6% in 2026, 2.0% in 2027, and 2.1% in 2028. Core inflation projections were also increased, while growth forecasts were cut, especially for 2026 as the war's impact on commodity markets, real incomes, and confidence takes its toll. The ECB expects GDP growth of 0.9% in 2026, 1.3% in 2027, and 1.4% in 2028. And top central banks struck hawkish tones as the Iran war drove energy prices sharply higher, but acknowledged that the sheer uncertainty over the impact on the global economy called for caution in their next policy moves. In a rare coincidence of the monetary policy diary, central banks of the United States, Japan, Britain, Canada, and Eurozone, effectively the group of 7 nations, convened this week as half counterparts from fairly tamed a commodity invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Wary that energy prices could spark a fresh wave of inflation. India's automakers and parts suppliers are bracing for production slowdowns and assembly line disruption as the Iran conflict chokes gas availability, threatening growth in the world's third largest car market. Some parts suppliers to India's leading car makers like Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors, and Mahindra are already reporting a shortage of gas to power operations, an early sign that supply chain issues are developing, according to 24 executives at car companies, part makers, and dealers. The disruption comes at a time when India's car demand is soaring to record levels, with sales expected to cross 4.5 million units in the current fiscal year to March 31, leaving little excess inventory with manufacturers and dealers. India relies heavily on the Middle East for energy supplies, importing 50% of its natural gas needs, mostly from Qatar, which has been forced to shut its refinery after a wave of Iranian attacks. While India is working to secure gas from the US, Norway, and Russia, the government has prioritized supplies for homes over factories. In auto sector plants, the fuel is critical to high heat processes like forging and casting, and in the paint shop. And that's Kakaaki Business. I am Olamide Ario.
Now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Well, now that we're done with Kakaaki Business, now it's time for Kakaaki Sports. And I must say, what a week it has been. But finally, we're here. It's a Friday, and it's a good point to say, thank God it's Friday. Yes, thank God it's Friday. But before we get into the excitement of the weekend and perhaps what to look forward to or what to do through the weekend, let's take a recap of the things that happened during the week, the activities in the world of sports. Beginning, of course, with the Tigress. Yes, news around the Tigress, Nigeria's female female basketball team, the most decorated in the continent. Yes, they just wrapped up the, talking about the FIBA Women's Afro-Basket qualifiers in Lyon, France. They're in style. So many talking points from that particular tournament, not just because they participated in the tournament, but off the pitch conversations as well. But as you can see right there, these Tigers already boarding their way to Germany for the FIBA Women's World Cup coming up later this year. But before this tournament, they already qualified for, of course, the FIBA Women's Afro-Basket tournament. That's the World Cup already. The FIBA Women's World Cup, they already qualified by chance of picking the title as the Afro-Basket champions that they won in October 2025. So the talking point will be the highlight, which is the retirement announcement by one of the legends of the game when it comes to women basketball in Nigeria and women basketball generally, talking about Sarah Oguke, who called and retired from basketball at that tournament. I mean, that was the high point of the event, aside from the fact that the Tigers also got rewarded by the federal government as promised when they won the 5th consecutive Afrobasket trophy. But let's start with the highlight, which is Sarah's retirement before their final game. Sarah hanging the boots right now at this time when Nigeria is going into the World Cup, one of the biggest showpiece of basketball in women's basketball. Your take on Sarah's retirement at that time, and did you expect it to happen in Lyon, in France?
Well, I didn't expect that. I thought that Sarah was going to play the last tournament in September.
Basketball.
And then, finally call it quits. But then, it's still an end to an illustrious career. 35 years of age, a mother, a doctor, seeing the tough times with the Tigress and, the good times. And so I think she deserves all of the applause and the accolades that, she has gotten, the immense support, because she's been one of the rocks of the team. And, we're so proud of her. We're so proud of what she has achieved. And I would have loved to see her, one more time at, the FIBA World Cup. But it is what it is. But we thank her so much for her contributions to the nation. Between people don't know a lot of the backstory, but Nigeria had a very good stint 2003, 2005, during the time of Mfon Udoka. And then, we went through an international drought. And, towards, 2014, the likes of Ogoke, Adora Elonu, our former captain, and Evelyn Akato, they struggled and they built this team, to what we've seen it today, helped, immerse the likes of Ezine Kalu, help them feel comfortable, and, this team is, a beautiful team today. And I think that it's something that we have to do, because Sarah will not be the only person retiring in a couple of years, because when we look at it, Ezine is already 31.
Yes. Promise as well. Promise
is 31 as well. I'm trying to remember her name. Mujinatu is young. Amy is 29. Yeah. Victoria Macaulay is 31 as well. So we need to start to look for ways of how we can freshen up the team, because we don't want to go through that drought again. We have a very solid coach on our hands. We have a formidable team. So before the rest start to call it quits, how can we get the likes of Nora Ezike, the under-19 girls, be on an aggressive scout hunt all over Europe, and, check some of, our girls playing in the US. Last year, we had the second draft and the second round pick in the WNBA draft, Kiki Raffen, and we've lost her. She will be up against us, hopefully this year, the FIBA World Cup with the United States. And she was so proud of her heritage. So I think, the Federation has a lot of work to, do now from, the under-19 levels, to start to get, ramping up, the talent search and, start to infiltrate them into the team. But, kudos to Sarah. We love her. We appreciate her. And thank you for giving Nigeria your best.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Sarah Ogoke, for giving Nigeria your best. 5-time champions of the Afro-Basket consecutive. The only basketball player to have gotten that trophy 5 times consecutively. And also, I mean, she was this bronze medalist in the 2011 African Games. That's the Basketball African Games. And also the silver medalist in the 2015 African Games. And just to add to that, she's also a certified medical doctor. So we know that she's not just living off the screens of basketball to go into, go and relish, in just behind the scenes. She's going to, save lives, perhaps do what she loves to do, her second job or her first love now.
And keep supporting the team.
Yeah, and keep supporting the team. And maybe someday we'll get to see her play the role of a coach.
Oh, who knows?
But yeah, kudos to Sarah Ogoke right there. But I'm talking about the Tigers now. These are the qualified teams. 16 teams are going into that championship. Are you optimistic optimistic that Nigeria, this Tiger, will pull off one this time around, perhaps go as far as perhaps picking a trophy?
Very, very. You know, we've only been at the FIBA World Cup twice,
yes.
2006 and 2018. We're supposed to be at one in 2022, save for, you know, the administrative bottlenecks that we had, you know, surrounding our federation, which, you know, we're still having an embattled federation and it sucks. But I would say that the team has a very, very, very good chance. Now, if you look at this core of players, they've spent a couple of years together. We have a very, very good coach. And these are the point that I, you know, really want to highlight to our viewers and to everybody listening. First off, why I said we have an excellent coach. Coaching has really never been a problem. Now, these are the things we have to do. We have to try to keep our coach for the long haul. We've seen the discipline she's brought to this side, the energy, her style of play.
Zeal.
You know, yes, very pragmatic on the front foot. You know, we have, you know, better. There's more aggression in our play. You know, we're always going for the point. We still have some lapses, which I'm going to point out now. You know, leading up to, because, you know, I was able to, you know, get a glimpse of the 5 games. We played 5 qualifier games. We won 2. We lost 3. But it was still a good outing, because even the 3 we lost were tight margins. And out of the 5 teams,
we played France and Germany.
And we've beaten France before.
Yes, yes.
We've beaten France before. We've beaten Korea before. So they're not teams that we can't beat. Even prior to that, you know, a lot of the teams that I'm seeing here are teams that we can beat. So what we need to do is
the United States, are you confident about that? We almost took it out at the Olympics.
Yeah, but it's going to be a tough game. I mean, how many people can boast of beating the United States? But this is where the problem lies. Throughout the qualifiers, what I noticed is that we have very, very, very slow starts. And very, very, very slow starts are not very good, you know, very sequences in basketball. So we have slow starts and terrible finishes. So in the games that we lost, most of it, you saw that in the first, second quarter, we were trailing by 20+ points. We had like a good third quarter fight, you know, on the front foot, perimeter defense, solid, you know, making our basket. And then we slump off in the fourth quarter. We slip off, a lot of loose balls. We're giving out a lot of turnovers, and it's really bad. When you're going into a tournament of this magnitude, every part of your game has to be very solid, rock solid. And the coach has promised that she's going to work on it.
All right.
And we need to keep the coach. So please,
let's move.
Just one thing to say before we move on. Please don't owe the coach.
Okay,
don't owe the coach.
They will not, the federation will not owe the coach. But now, Francis, let's make progress quickly. Now, one of the most talked about issues in the world of football sports now, during the week was, of course, the issue of the CAF decision that has been trending since Tuesday. It overshadowed Champions League and all of that. But now, quickly, Musepe has come out to say something. Let's quickly listen to Musepe's, you know, explanation before we get into the analysis of, as it is, what has gone down when it comes to AFCON 2025. Musepe's analysis. Musepe's thoughts.
The important thing of what happened on that final match is it undermines the good work that CAF has done over many, many years to ensure that that there's integrity, that there's respect, that there's ethics, that there's governance, as well as credibility of the results of our football matches. We are very clear at CAF that we are enormously committed to ensure that not only in terms of what we do, because we've implemented best practices. We've identified judges and lawyers from every region, from every zone from the 54 countries in Africa to make sure that these are people.
Well, that was the president of CAF right there, you know, dishing out reasons as to why the decision of the CAF came to be, and then perhaps he's also expressing his disappointment as regards to the AFCON final incident and what happened there. But now the question is, like, I mean, Francis, it's been a lot of talks. Reactions have been coming around from all corners. Now, the latest one we've seen is from the CAF president himself, telling us this is what is going on, this is what's going to happen. Perhaps they're also telling us that talking about people, committees have been set in place that we, you know, look into these issues, and I'm sure that the right thing is done. But do you stand with the CAF president that this decision was definitely fair and just? Or what is your reaction to the whole situation as regards to, you know, CAF saying that they are stripping Senegal off the title and giving it to Morocco?
So I can't exactly say, you know, what is right and wrong. I know, you know, over the last week since the decision, we've had a lot of, you know, legal analysis, even on NIT, and, you know, some of the top dogs on the continent, you know, in sports have given their. But I'm not going to come from any of that angle. I can't say whatever Motsepe said is right or wrong, and I'll tell you why. He's an administrator. The situation in itself already looks very ugly. It looks very ugly.
So damage control is what he's most likely doing.
It's very, very ugly. So one thing he would have to do is to save face. With the amount of pressure and the dissatisfaction that has, clouded the entire situation across the continent and, the world of sport and football entirely, you wouldn't expect Motsepe to get on a camera with a mic on to say that, what the CAF appeal body did was wrong or was right. It's also going to put him under much more pressure. We've seen all of, the articles of football, the laws of the game and everything. And what I would say is that, yes, it's really, we don't know. We're going to see, because Senegal is going to go on appeal, and we're going to see, the ratio and the reasons behind it. We're waiting to see the ratio and the reasons behind the judgment. Do you understand? But I'm not, taking it from that angle. I think that we're being very, very legal, with football, and we're taking it. And I think that football works on moments. Football works on moments. And why we should punish situations that undermine the very essence of football, we shouldn't strip football of what it entirely is, being a game of emotion. Why this looks very, very ugly, and this is what I would tell Motsepe from a personal standpoint moving forward of what he can do. If you want to strip the reigning champions of something like this, you should have made up a note that the investigations, given a time frame for the investigations, and make sure that it came out much more earlier, not when people. Because what this does is that this is not the first time, like something like this, is happening in football. So it's not that, Africa is doing something new, but we've just not had it really this bad. So, so from an administrative point of view, I think, that we could do things better, but that's just really all I have to say. All right,
hopefully we get to do things better. But now the big question on everybody's mouth is, who is Africa's champion? Is it Morocco or is it Senegal? Well, Senegal won the African title on the pitch, and Morocco has been named new champions after, talking about after the Council of SAD, CAF SAD, and say, okay, we need to strip them.
Well, they're still the champions, because the case is going on appeal.
Exactly my point. Now we are waiting to find out who will end up becoming Africa's champion. Is it Senegal or Morocco? But as it stands, it's currently Senegal. We're not talking about champions. Now let's move on to the Champions League. Well, matches also went down precisely in the Champions League, and these were the results. Round of 16 done and dusted, and the quarterfinalists have emerged. So, Francis, your thoughts on the result quickly before we move into the finalists?
I'm going to run here. Spare me the Bodo gimmick. Now everybody is quiet on Bodo. Bodo fairy tale season, Bodo Cinderella, and they saw what an aggressive Portuguese team could do. Champions League games are very, very brutal. If you don't kill it immediately, anything can happen. Was very interesting. Second, Arsenal, came back from a 1-1, disappointing game in Germany. Arsenal controlled the game entirely from start to finish. Eberechi with a belter to show that, he's in running form. And, we get to see Arsenal, go better. Chelsea.
Shockingly, at home at Stamford Bridge against Paris Saint-Germain.
In Mourinho's work.
Complete revenge, they're calling it.
In Mourinho's work, they're weak, they're not strong, they don't know how to play. But a lot of mistakes caused them this time. In the first leg, goalkeeper errors, and just Paris brilliance. You see that blistering attack of Bakola, Kvaratskhelia, shooters everywhere. If you can't defend easily, it's at Man City. Abiola outplayed Man City's press. It was a great game from Madrid. They are born for Champions League night. Barcelona and Newcastle, shocking game.
Yes.
And Bayern smacked Atlanta. That was never in doubt. Liverpool came back. I feel so bad, for Galatasaray. It was a good game in Turkey, but Victor left injured. We saw videos of him leaving the stadium with a arm. And then Lang, had to be rushed to the hospital. We pray for speedy recovery for him. Pretty ugly incident that can destabilize any team. But what we could see from that game was that Victor is possibly the fulcrum holding the Galatasaray.
Without him, there's no winning for Galatasaray. But now, quickly, let's look at the quarterfinalists. Who do you think will make it out of this one now?
Very difficult game, but yes, Barcelona, Atletico, we're going to see serious dark art football from Simeone. Both teams are tough, but I want to think that Barcelona may make it through. Arsenal definitely going to smack Sporting home and away. It's going to be difficult, but I trust, the London Kings to do that. Then Bayern, Real Madrid. Very, very, very tough game. Very, very tough game. Madrid are a momentum team.
Yeah, 15-time champions.
Yeah, but Bayern work well, in controlled setting. They have a great striker in Hurricane. So I may tip them to get over Madrid this time around.
Right.
Paris, Liverpool. Difficult game.
Okay.
Paris did one over them the last time. So Paris here over Liverpool. Liverpool are struggling.
All right. Those are your predictions. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we'll come back here to see if that turns out exactly as you predicted. But these are the quarterfinalists in the UEFA Champions League. And the winner will definitely be among these teams here. Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Barcelona, all in contention for the title. Who will it be? We will get to find out in the coming days as it unfolds. But thank you so much, Francis. I didn't get to introduce you more earlier. But
happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And you are not a stranger to the house, but thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
It's nice to be here. Beautiful weekend, by the way. Carabao Cup final,
Definitely. We're looking forward to it. And Monday, that's the conversation on Monday.
Thank you, guys.
But thank you so much for being a part of it this morning. I am Simbi Shima. Up next is the social intervention segment. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Fit in 60 Seconds with Jolly Phillips. Now, everyone has 60 seconds in every day to spare. So if you're ready, let's go! Going. How many seconds left? 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. Well done. Look at. Well done. I hope you had a great workout. Anyway, what I need you to do is to follow us on Instagram at Alpha Fitness Studios and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Alpha Fitness Studios, for free workout videos, free dance videos, sales and promos, and make sure you join us at the gym, Alpha Fitness Studios in Lekki Phase 1 next time you're in Lagos. So until the next time, bye-bye.
Hello, great people of Nigeria. Welcome to the Leadership Clinic. Today, I want to speak to you what I've titled Rebuilding After Failure. Every leader stumbles, but true greatness lies in the comeback. Failure is not the end. It is actually a reset button. All those that have been able to build sustainable institutions, they have experienced one failure or the other. And so if you are experiencing failure in your life right now, I don't want you to actually give up. I want you to see it as an opportunity to reinvent yourself and then come back strong. What are the processes of rebuilding confidence after you have failed? The first thing first is that you must own your mistake. Accept responsibility without excuses. Accountability restores respect. The moment you'll be able to learn how you will always accept a mistake that is already made and then show up in a different way is what makes you stand out. So the second thing is that you must extract the lesson. So during this period of my failure, the process to my failure, what exactly happened? After every setback, you must understand that it's your responsibility to know that there is a blueprint that comes from every failure. Model resilience. Your recovery inspires others to rise again. So the interesting thing is that as you come back, what happens is that there's a lead story. You lead the comeback story. You are the one who tells the story about how you have been able to come back from the challenges that you have faced. And then the most interesting thing is that every leader that we see today that has been able to build anything significant, each and every one of them, they have their stories on how they failed many times, and then of course they bounce back. Abraham Lincoln failed many times and bounced back. Show me a leader who has not failed ever, who has not made a mistake, and I will show you somebody who has not really gone through any experience. That person will not be able to actually make any impact in a sustainable way, because a lot of leaders, they have failed and they built from their failure and they have made a big difference in the future. So as a country, if we have made mistakes, leaders have made mistakes in the past, can we use this opportunity today, as you're listening to me, to say to yourself that I have made mistake as a leader, it is time for me to reinvent. As a political leader, you have made mistakes, and I want you to actually accept that and then take the responsibility of reinventing yourself so that together we can build this country and make it work. Great people of Nigeria, you must remember, if a man doesn't have a purpose of waking up, sleeping becomes interesting.
Sit like a lady, walk like a gentleman. What do these even mean? Hello there, my name is Etienne Afansong, your preferred etiquette coach. Today, I wish to share tips on one of my favorite topics, deportment. Deportment is basically how you carry yourself when you walk, you sit, or even stand. A good deportment is an excellent way to make a good first impression because your deportment already introduces you before you open your mouth to introduce yourself. Another word for deportment can be composure, comportment, or mien. When it comes to deportment, it's all about the body language that you speak. So when you are walking, you should always walk confidently with your head held high, your shoulders well leveled, and with a spring in your steps. When you are seated, you should sit like a lady if you're a lady. And if you're a gentleman, you should also sit like a gentleman. What does it take to sit like a lady? You have to be graceful when you're seated, with your legs always together, your spine well lengthened. You should always sit tall, and your hand placement must exude grace and confidence. For the gentleman, you don't necessarily have to put your legs together like the ladies, but your legs should also not be too far wide apart. Sit down with grace, confidence, and finesse. Having a good deportment portrays you as a person who is confident, refined, and poised. Remember that mastering these skills comes with consistent practice. Endeavor to maintain a good deportment at all times. Keep it classy always. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for still staying with us. It's that time of the program where we look at the national dailies and the front page stories. You also do know that we don't do this alone. Our regular reviewer for Friday is already here, and I'm talking about the White King, that is Izocha Nze, who is now the editor of Disclosure newspaper. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Good morning.
Okay, so where is your second? I know you used to be too unavoidably absent. Okay, so we wish him the very best wherever he is.
Good morning, Izocha, and congratulations on your move from New National Star to the Disclosure News. All right, let's quickly get to look at what the papers have for us this morning. And, of course, we will be starting by looking at Al Jazeera Friday. Al Jazeera Friday leads with the story Eid al-Fitr. Tinubu felicitates Muslims, urges unity, patriotism. And there's a rider there. We must continue to abide by the virtues of piety, selflessness, perseverance, kindness, and compassion beyond this period. That is the top story on the front page of the paper. Read details on page 9.
Okay, that's the Al Jazeera Friday you just read?
Yes, Al Jazeera
Okay, so we
Friday.
move on to the Leadership Friday. Okay. Also leading with that same story, Salah, it says, Tinubu governors advocate unity, pledge improved security. With the riders, Akpabio urges compassion for the underprivileged. Security tightened in Borno amidst terror threats. Details of that you find on page 4 of the Leadership Friday.
The top story on the front page of this Nigeria is not the Eid al-Fitr, but rather it's on the state visit by Nigeria's president to the UK. And the lead story, the lead headline there says, Tinubu UK PM signed £747 million deal to refurbish 2 Nigerian ports. The writers say President pushes for beefed-up trade, anti-terror pact amid global crisis. Says Nigeria has exited economic hardship phase. Details of that you find on page 2 of the paper.
Nigeria, UK seal £747 million deal to modernize a Lagos port. The bold headline there, as captured by the Nigerian News Direct this morning. You have details on page 15 of the Nigerian News Direct.
Okay, let's go to the blueprint now and its own lead story. The top headline says, State Visit. Tinubu reaffirms Nigeria-UK historic alliance, centuries-old ties. The writers there say seeks stronger security cooperation, praises diaspora's impact, meets PM Starmer, witnesses £746 million ports deal signing.
To the Daily Global now, the Daily Global, Tinubu departs London after historic state visit. Tinubu departs London after historic state visit. That's the big headline, the Daily Global.
How does the Observer's Times lead this morning? Nigeria has arrived. King Charles III hails Nigeria as emerging global powerhouse. The writers say seals £746 million deal with UK to revamp Think and Apapa ports. Nigeria-UK bolster military ties as Musa Koka meet at Lancaster.
And to the Standard Times, also leading with same story, Nigeria-UK sign agreement on deportation of irregular migrants, asylum seekers, offenders. Of course, the state visit seems to be making most of the papers this morning.
Now let's go to the Daily Sun, and the paper takes us away from the state visit to the UK and leads to something that is very germane to the Nigerian people. Sultan charges military to take war to terrorists' dens. And the writers say urges soldiers to be proactive instead of being reactionary. Nigeria bleeding. Killings must stop, says NLC.
Okay, we look at the Daily Monitor next. The Daily Monitor is also leading with some stories. Sultan to military, take the war to terrorists. Don't wait for attacks. Take the war to terrorists. And then some writers says Maiduguri bombings, UN Islamic should not be associated with teachings of Islam, and urges government to summon political will to stamp out criminal elements across Nigeria.
Okay, now moving away from the Daily Monitor, we go to the Nigerian Pilot. And its lead story says Global Terrorism Index. Nigeria ranks 4th, screaming red letters there. And some of the writers say IEP report places Nigeria behind Pakistan, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic. Says Nigeria has recorded 46% increase in killings in 2025.
Okay, we move on to the Disclosure News. The Disclosure News, that's White King's paper here. This appears to be a investigative story as bombing returns to northern Nigeria. That's the lead of this paper. You find the details on page 2. More expected in coming weeks. Security analysts, military killing of fellow Muslims during Iftar, devilish, anti-Islam, says cleric. And then you have condemnations, Trill Tinubu's continued stay in UK. Of course, he's already on his way back, really. So that's the lead of the Disclosure News this morning.
The Authority newspaper leads with the story, El Rufai celebrates Salah in detention. 2 riders there were holding him legally. ICPC, no, you're infringing on his rights. ADC, the story flows from page 1 to page 2 of the paper.
Okay, the Business NG is the next paper we're looking at. 11 days to recapitalization, the paper says. Polaris, Keystone, Union Banks are silent. Customers anxious. That's the bold headline there. And then you have Eid al-Fitr, federal government to tackle gas shortage as Nigerians express frustration. That may interest every Nigerian. So this is the last paper we are bringing up for review. Let's get in our reviewer for some analysis of the major headline stories. We'll begin with the one led by This Nigeria, Nigeria News Direct, and of course some other papers as well. Tinubu UK PM signed £747 million deal to refurbish 2 Nigerian ports. Particular interest is the Tinkan Island port, and of course that of the which one is that?
Tinkan Island?
Yes, that's one of the Apapa and Tinkan Island.
Keys. Is Apapa? There's no P in Yoruba.
Apapa Keys, yes. Okay, so
there's no P. It's P in Yoruba.
P, even though it's written
Apapa,
as P. Yes. Okay, so let's get your thoughts on this story.
Yeah, as usual, the president visit outside the country has always state visits have always yielded cheering news. When he went to United Arab Emirates, he got something. Now he's in, when he traveled to another country, he also got something. Now he's in UK, and we are hearing of a 747 million pounds deal. Quite commendable as the signing of those MOUs are. Nigerians also want those deals to reflect on the people, because when you read these things and you also come back to Nigeria and you don't see it reflecting, you ask yourself what is going on. Talking about the Apapa and Tinkan Island, what we call Apapa Wharf. Those of us who were very distinct.
It's Wharf, everybody calls it.
It's Wharf, everybody calls it.
Because when you see the vehicles going there, they used to put the two together, so you don't even know which one is
So the prayer of every Nigerian is that this MOU should reflect. Let there be changes. Let there be something that you say, yes, our president has signed an agreement with a country and the people are benefiting from it. Though the visit, all you know, was somehow has received some condemnations following the multiple suicide bombing that took place in Maiduguri, Borno State, when the president was outside. But I think, like I have said, the major thing is not about having these things on papers. Is about reflecting. Let them be implemented. Let the people see that, yes, this visit, much as painful as Nigerians have said it was, let there be something positive to be taken from it, not only seeing it on papers as we have seen always.
All right, it's not just about that. If you take a look at the Standard Times too, Ezocha, it leads with the story, Nigeria-UK sign agreement on deportation of irregular migrants, asylum seekers, offenders. That's the MOU on migration, which I'm sure a number of the other papers also have. How do you read this? Because irregular migration, asylum seeking, and of course all kinds of people moving in between Nigeria and the UK.
Yeah, like you stated there, it's very that it is irregular migration and asylum seekers. I think if somebody wants to travel, he must make sure that he travel in a very regular way. Because you look at, for example, if you look at what is happening in, immediately Trump came in as a U.S. president, he started looking for illegal migrants, moving from street to street, picking them up and deporting them. So I think it's not only the UK that is involved in that. Other countries do it also. In other countries in Europe, you will see when they do control of places of work, you see people being picked up and being deported if you are not residing legally in the country. And there's also this claim that some of these illegal migrants are the people that are causing some problems in those countries. It is not peculiar to UK, like I have just said. But you also know that in every MOU or agreement like this, it must not all be rosy. You must pay to have something. I think if you are outside the country, you should make your stay, regularize your stay, and make sure that you live according to what is obtained in those countries, because most of these deportations are done when you see that you are not, you have not regularized your stay, and at the same time you are doing things there that are contrary to the host, your host country's laws. I think it's not acceptable.
You know, this visit is activity-packed. It was 2 days. In fact, our reporter described this as a whirlwind visit, you know, of the president. So many things happening at the same time.
Yeah, even where Prince Charles commended Nigeria, he said Nigeria has arrived.
Charles. Yes,
King Charles, sorry, no longer
King
Prince.
Charles. He said Nigeria has arrived.
When the King,
and that gladdened my heart, you know.
Yes, because but that is also why I'm saying, yeah, King Charles said Nigeria has arrived. Is it outside? Because when you say Nigeria has arrived, there should be things to follow it. If we have arrived and imagine a global economy, but when we come back to Nigeria, it doesn't reflect. That's just the truth. It doesn't reflect. If Nigeria is being classified as an emerging global economy, I think the people of Nigeria should benefit from it, should see the dividends. Are we talking of a global economy when prices of food and services are shooting up every day? Are we talking of a country that has arrived when we cannot even organize our legislature? A country that has organized when our economy is improving on the papers. So if you say that Nigeria has arrived, if by his rating Nigeria has arrived, I think it should also reflect on the people. Are we talking of an arrived nation where people are being killed every day? Are we talking of a nation that has arrived where people will be slaughtered, where suicide bombers will be killing people every day, where terrorists have, taken over? You saw the headline, the cover story of one of the papers, I think the Pilot, where it's saying that Global Terrorism Index, Nigeria is the 4th most terrorized country in the world. And we are talking of a country that has arrived. How can we now marry the two? That in the economy sector, Nigeria is not there. In security, Nigeria is not there. In health, Nigeria is not there. In energy, Nigeria is not there. But on the papers, outside, we are being rated as a country that has arrived. I think that statement should be in the heart of the president and his, the people that he's, administering this country with. To say this is a very tall order. You have arrived. So come back and arrive in Nigeria. Let us not arrive outside the country. Let that rating reflect on the status of the country here at home. Because when we go outside and we have been praised, we have been held that we have arrived, we are now an emerging global economy. But when you come to Nigeria, every sector has not arrived. Every sector is not even close to arrival. How would you put the two together? After all, it is said that charity begins at home. Of course. But also, if you listen to the statement as well that was made by the president, he said it reaffirms Nigeria's UK historic alliance, centuries-old ties, seeks stronger security cooperation, meets PM Starmer, visits crucial to nation's economic growth, according to Governor Rada. This is how the blueprint puts this. So what it means is that probably from what the president, has sought in the UK, and of course, all of the deals and MOUs that have been signed, we may begin to see that arrival as he returns. Let's pray it works like that, because like you said, it was an action-packed visit. And Nigerians will want and pray for there to be dividends of this trade.
If not for anything, that has put Nigeria on the global spotlight again. And then many people who probably were afraid to come to Nigeria for investment will now see that, okay, being recognized in the UK, that the place is actually a place to be. So we hope that happens soon, so Nigerians can begin to feel the impact.
Oh, yes, okay, indeed. We do hope. But before we leave the UK state visit, the president also met with Nigerians resident in the UK. And one of the heartwarming things was the talk about the fact that Nigerians are very dominant in the health sector. The president he made that remark in his speech, saying that Nigerians were the ones who were they're really very strong in the national health service of the NHS of the United Kingdom. Nigerians have some of the best doctors, some of the best nurses, radiographers, name it, physiotherapists, medical workers.
And that is true, because I know of some too who are very senior.
Yeah, that is true, because they also left this country. That they are doing well there is because they left this country because they feel that they are not being protected in this country. You see that if you go to UK, for example, you see so many Nigerian nurses, so many Nigerian doctors, radiographers, like you have said, a lot of them doing very, very well, very commendable. But like Nkoli said here, charity begins at home. I think that those people that are doing well did not leave the country because some of them did not leave because they wanted to leave. Some of them left because they wanted a place where they were given the opportunity to excel in their professions. A place where they will be, they will get what is commensurate, what putting into the system. The country should also reason this way, that since we have people like if you go to countries like United States, you see Nigerians selling in several departments. But back home here, we cannot boast of what we don't have here.
All right.
And we have outside. The government is doing well, brokering some MOUs that we have in the country. We pray that it will reflect in a situation, in a system where there will no longer be japa, like we used to call them, so that those people, instead of leaving the country, will stay here and make good this country.
Of our own health sector as well. All right, so let's move on to another story, which is something that also concerns every Nigerian. I think your paper also led with that, and then you have the Daily Sun, the Daily Monitor also talking about that. Sultan charges military to take war to terrorist den. That's what the Daily Sun and the Daily Monitor said, and your paper talked about what is an investigation you did and all of that. So let us, you called it the return of terrorism.
Yeah, very regrettable. Very, very, it should be a concern, an issue that concerns every Nigerian. Because, for a long time now, we've not heard of suicide bombing the way it happened, is it early this week or in Borno State? It has not been like that since after the series of bombings that rocked Abuja, rocked Medu. But it's concerned, it is something that federal government and the military, like the Sultan has advised, that they should nip this thing. Because if you allow these terrorists to reenact the wicked act of suicide bombing, you don't know where it will be. Especially in a situation like Nigeria, where they everywhere is porous. You don't even talk. If you go to the parks, there's no security there. If you go to busy areas, no security. And these are the places where these evil people thrive a lot. I think it's a very worrisome situation. We should not allow these people. Like the Sultan said, you don't wait. You have to be proactive. We have been very reactionary. As far as Nigerian security is concerned, it is only when it happens that you will see them, like it has happened in Borno State, in Maiduguri. President said, relocate, and every chief of, every security chief will now try to relocate. It is not supposed to be so. That is what the Sultan is saying. You don't wait until these people cause this menace before you now, try to wipe them out. like we have been hearing since after the coordinated bomb blast that military have wiped out this swap. They have killed several Boko Haram. These things should be continuous because this war is not a war of wait. Let them attack us first because they are organized. These people are organized. These people have been causing mayhem. We have them there from Boko Haram. We have seen ISWAP. We have seen Lakurawa. All these people are scattered all over the country. So I think, and I also commend the federal government because they have been given the security every necessary support. Every necessary support. I was reading in one of the papers how many trillions of naira the federal government has spent fighting terror. I think these spendings should reflect by making sure that these people that cause this mayhem are wiped out. Because if you wait until they attack, they will continue to cause more problem, and Nigeria will continue to bleed, like the NLC has said.
Very sad situation indeed.
Well, you're talking about these security issues, and you raised that in the headline of your paper, the disclosure, as bombing returns to northern Nigeria, more expected in coming weeks, killing of fellow Muslims during Iftar, devilish anti-Islam, says cleric, condemnations trail. Anyway, Tinubu's continued stay. He has left the UK, is back in Lagos, should be back in Lagos this morning from the reports that we have. But talking about this upsurge in bombings in the northeast, specifically Maiduguri. For instance, before the bombings on Monday, there were 3 bombs, right? All of them suicide bombs. And the frightening dimension for me is the fact that children were used for some of these bombings. So I don't know, how do you see this development, especially towards the end of Ramadan? And then, of course, Nigerians are also talking about the fact that it's also towards, as we get close to the 2027 general election.
Yeah, that is why we are saying here that they should be very proactive. Because in the next 6-7 months, the country will enter into an election season. Will enter into a campaign period. The INEC has released the timetable. We know that by January this year, there will be an election. By February this year, next year rather, there will be an election. By February next year, there will be an election. But months to that, these election dates will be very active period of campaign and all that. And if these people are not, checked, you can see that you can agree with me that campaign may be difficult, especially in those volatile areas.
Oh yes, campaigns gather a lot of people together in one location, and those are soft targets.
You see how they coordinated the suicide bombing, and like the governor of Borno State said also, I don't know why people should derive joy. If you said, this Boko Haram, I don't just know what their ideology should be called. Killing a fellow Muslim who have gathered to break fast. And you say you are fighting a religious war. And you that is, taking part in that suicide bombing or that has sent people out to bomb, are you saying you are not fasting? You are not observing the religious listen? Some of these things will make you feel that we just don't know how these things come. But the message is that Nigerian military, they are trying, but they should try more. Federal government, they are doing well, but they should aid them more. Because we have a bigger thing in front. If we don't stop this now, it will be difficult to hold election, especially in the north. It will be very difficult. We saw how election was postponed in this country because of insecurity. And we also saw the amount of money federal government spent in making sure that election held, I think in 2019, is it 2015 or in making sure that elections held at IDP camps and other places in Borno State. But this is happening because these terrorists have gathered some strength, both in weapons, both in support, and both in. I think people should also, those living within them, should not be encouraging them. Like the governor has said, if the residents of a particular town are alleged to be aiding terrorists, I mean, we are gone. Even as we are talking of state police, if they are infiltrate into the system, the security is gone. They will have the free hand to do whatever they want to do. And using children to carry out this bomb, I don't know the type of religion that will tell you, that will thumb you up, that will say, yes, you are killing your fellow Muslim or you are killing your fellow Christian during fasting, and you come out to say you are fighting a religious war. It's unacceptable.
Yes, indeed, especially when all religions in Nigeria are said to be preaching peace. And, you know, every nook and cranny of this country you go to, there is either a mosque or there is a church somewhere, really. And Nigeria is considered as a very religious country, so it shouldn't even be heard of that anyone is being killed by another fellow human being in the country. And that is why the Salah message has been given by the President, Salah, as Leadership Friday leads this morning. Salah, Tinubu, governors advocate unity, pledge improved security. Akpabio urges compassion for the underprivileged. And these are some of the writers to that story. So everyone is preaching peace.
Anyway, we have to go now. Yes, but let me quickly take a few comments from the YouTube channel, because we have plenty of comments this morning. And let me start with Michael Movudu, the one who everybody thinks will take all of his messages all of the time.
Because he's always there.
He's always there. Anyway, Mr. President's visit to the UK is very, very fruitful. I was so happy hearing the king speaking Nigerian language, especially when he said, Naijano they carry last. And Ike 951 says, they keep centering everything in Lagos ports. What of other ports in other parts of Nigeria? And Noche Ogenyi says, good morning all. It is difficult to understand this £780 million deal because these ports have been concessioned to private companies who have developed them. I'm sure that was taken into consideration. And of course, let me also read this. Yeah, DJ says, yeah, listening to Nze is comforting. He mostly speaks for the masses. And Lagrande D4R, everything you wrote is in German. Neither Nkoli nor I speak German, but I guess you were saying something really complimentary. Thank you for joining us all the way from Germany. And Victor Temba says, can I please really understand the benefits of this visit of our president to the UK? How can this visit help fight terrorism, improve our global perspective, and improve our economy? Plenty of comments there.
All right. Just to answer that last one, if you listen to the conversation, the president and the government of Nigeria is also seeking cooperation from the UK government to fight some of these insurgents for security, boost economy and all of that. So it will surely benefit us. But what Ezocha is saying here is that all these that have been put on paper should actually be put on ground, practicalized, and Nigerians should begin to see them. So we thank you very much for your time with us on the paper review. Do have a great day and a happy holiday.
All right.
I know you won't have one anyway.
He's going to walk straight from here.
But that's what it is.
All right, thank you very much. Eza Chanze, editor, Disclosure News, has joined us this morning on the Newspaper Review. Now, let's go into something else very quickly. President Bola Tinubu met with the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday in a high-level bilateral engagement aimed at strengthening ties between Nigeria and Britain. And that meeting was on the second and final day of the president's visit to the UK. The meeting culminated in the signing of various memoranda of understanding and agreements, including those on trade, investment, defense, and cultural cooperation. Ijoma Osamo is in the UK. AIT's Ijoma Osamo, the one you know very well. She has a report on the trip. Let's take that and then we'll come back for our conversation.
It's been a whirlwind 2 days for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu as they conclude a 2-day state visit to the United Kingdom. On Wednesday, they were received by the King Charles III and Queen Camilla at the historic 900-year-old Windsor Castle, the traditional home of the British monarch. Later in the evening, they were feted at a lavish state banquet attended by some of the most powerful figures in both Nigeria and British societies. And today, it was time to get to signing deals and memoranda.
I believe firmly that when rain clouds gather, we can tighten the grip of friendship between us and, in so doing, reinforce the central role of the Commonwealth in our shared future. We can learn from Nigeria and the best of the UK and Nigeria's partnership and harness the advantage that comes from our common languages, our similar legal systems, and the web of cultural ties and spiritual connections that provide such deep trust between us.
It is particularly historic. Windsor has stood as a symbol of continuity, witnessing the steady evolution of institutions that have shaped governance, culture, and public life, not only in Britain, but far beyond these shores.
President Tinubu arrived at number 10 Downing Street, the home of the British Prime Minister, posed at the famous Black Door for pictures and a handshake with Prime Minister Keir Starmer before both men ducked inside to begin their meeting. The visit underscores a growing economic partnership with bilateral trade now at the record level of about $10.7 billion a year, and Nigerian companies expanding operations in Britain. Today, both countries committed to deepening bilateral relations, attracting foreign investment, and modernizing key infrastructure to support economic growth. A major highlight was the signing of a £746 million financing agreement between the UK Export Finance, the Nigerian Ports Authority, and the Federal Ministry of Finance. The deal will fund the refurbishment of two key maritime infrastructure, the Lagos Port Complex, Apapa Quays, and the Tinkan Island Port Complex. Other deals were signed in the trade and security sectors. This visit comes at a pivotal moment in Nigeria-Britain relations. The United Kingdom remains one of Nigeria's key partners in trade, defense, and development. But beyond economics, the relationship is deeply rooted in history, shaped by colonial rule that ended in 1960 and sustained today by strong diaspora connections. Analysts are describing it as a recalibration of that relationship from one defined by history to one increasingly driven by mutual economic interest and global positioning. For the UK, strengthening ties with Africa's largest economy support its post-Brexit strategy of expanding global trade links. For Nigeria, closer engagement offers investment opportunities and access to international financial markets. However, the relationship is not without its tensions. Issues such as governance concerns, security challenges, and different political narratives continue to shape perceptions on both sides. Notably absent from the visit schedule is a meeting with the UK opposition leader, Kemi Badenoch, who, although of Nigerian descent, has previously been critical of Nigeria's governance record. President Tinubu was accompanied by a high-profile delegation, including the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, the Minister of Solid Mineral, Dele Alake, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu. Other members of the delegation include the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, and the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa. Ijoma Osamo, Downing Street, London.
All right, thank you very much for that report. Let's now go to talk to Ijoma, who is joining us virtually. She has since left London, she's since left Windsor and returned to Normanton in Yorkshire, in the United Kingdom. Good morning, Ijoma. It looks quite cold where you are.
Of course. Good morning, Kule. I had wanted to see you go outside and see if I can miss the environment outside to do something, but I noticed it is quite hazy. So I rushed to wear my jacket. It's early this morning, so that's why I'm here. Thank you so much. It's good to see you again, Nkoli.
Yeah, good to see you. I can't remember how many people have asked me, where is Ijoma or Samo? So now you are. Now you're here, and I'm sure many of your fans who have missed you will be seeing you right from there. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so quickly tell us, we actually thank you for, bringing that report to us about our president's visit. You described it in your report as a whirlwind 2-day visit. Tell us exactly why you described it that way.
Okay. When he landed at the airport, the welcoming was ceremonious. So it took the glare of all the cameras there, Nigerians who came to the airport, jumping on the president, welcoming him. And when he moved to the hotel, it was also a ceremony. Even up to early hours of the next day, at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., people were just coming in there. Nigerians who live around were coming in there. And on the day of the Windsor Castle meetings, it was a colorful one. The Nigerian president was welcomed in a way that people wonder what is going on. Why this huge welcoming? Colorful, gunshots, maybe because it's been a long time since a leader from Nigeria visited the kingdom. I can tell you that even the statement coming from the king himself, King Charles, it's a statement that shows that, there's a relationship between these two countries. The king took us back to the colonial era, apologized for what happened then, and said it is time for us to forge a way forward. And, ending his speech with that statement, Nigeriano de carry last, gave a lot of people, especially Nigerians in the UK, this sense of belonging that, so these people still know that we are this. The president didn't stop there. He went over to have a dinner with them. A very big banquet was organized for the Nigerian president and his delegation. And throughout the night, it was like the president coming in and out, having short meetings with some foreign nationals, Nigerian businessmen, and Nigerian community also. And then the next day, it was also another very strong meeting with the Prime Minister at the Downing Street. That gate was filled up with ceremonies, with those celebrating and even those not celebrating. It was really, if you see the picture there, you'll be proud that you're in Nigeria, Nkoli.
Of course, I am proud. Of course, listening to even the king saying Nigeria has arrived alone gladdens my heart. But there's a lot of concerns raised back home here in the country, given lingering concerns around insecurity, around governance, and the perception of Nigerians. Really, let's look at what you think this visit will do to Nigeria and whether we can boost the confidence of the countries back here at home.
Just like the two leaders mentioned when they met themselves, the Prime Minister as well as the President of Nigeria, it was an opportunity because the President brought forward the challenges facing the country. And he asked the leader of the United Kingdom, he said, Nigeria has challenges. Though it's a global challenge, every country has their challenge. But we are looking at the possibility of trying to end the scourge of insecurity in Nigeria and also help our economy. And the Prime Minister assured our President that they were going to work together, help Nigeria get out of some of these challenges that they are faced with, that the issue of insecurity has become a global concern, and no country will have to sit back and take a decision to say, handle your issues yourself, because it is not something that just one government can handle, because it cuts across countries. So for that, it's looking like Nigeria now has a part in the bag by, can I say, this time around, those who colonized them, who are now like a partner with them, because the British government also promised that they will join forces to see how issues will be resolved in Nigeria. But most especially is the economic ties, the business part of this meeting. If whatever has been reached and has been agreed upon by the two governments is implemented strictly, we will see a change in our international markets, international business. We also see a change in the exporting and importing business. Recall that before now, the UK signed some export materials from Nigeria that can fly in without raising eyebrows, some agricultural products that can come into the country directly from Nigeria. That alone has also given Nigerians some relief that they can also still import things like our cashew, things like cassava and some agricultural produce from Nigeria to the United Kingdom. And they will not be asked to pay so much money because it's a free exporting deal. So it's going to boost the economy, that's for sure. But it's going to help resolve some of the challenges that we are faced with, especially the issue of insecurity. That's what I observed yesterday after the meeting. Friendship has to be formed. Understanding one another also has to be there for them to say, okay, let's consider going into business. And a lot of money, billions of pounds to be expanded into the Nigerian business.
Ijoma.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We've completely run out of time now. We have to move on to something else. But we do appreciate you. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning and for all you've put into this, into the coverage of the President's state visit to the UK. Thank you so much. Ijoma Osamo talking to us from Normanton in Yorkshire over there in England. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much, and thank you, colleagues.
All right, stay cool and stay safe as well. Do have a great day.
All right.
Okay, now let's move away from the presidential visit and talk about something we told you about earlier on in the program. VVF, or should I say vesicovaginal fistula, one that is commonly known to leave women incontinent, socially isolated, and often abandoned by their families. But the good news is that doctors say the condition is preventable and treatable. And now there's an initiative that has been birthed in Jos Plateau State, which has been working to change the narrative for survivors. We have a report on that, and then we'll go into our next conversation.
This is Dorothy, a patient of vesicovaginal fistula here at the Bingham University Teaching Hospital in Jos, the capital of Plateau State. She has been suffering from incontinence and the social stigma attached to it ever since her troubled pregnancy a few years ago. When she was due to give birth, her baby was breached and she went into labor that lasted hours. Eventually, she had to be cut, but was too late for the baby, who did not survive the long labor. And Dorothy was cut so badly that a few days later, she developed vesicovaginal fistula. This happens after a long or difficult childbirth, where the baby presses on the tissues inside the mother for many hours or days without proper medical help. This pressure cuts off blood supply, the tissue dies, and a hole was formed between her bladder and her vagina. Out of this hole, urine leaks from the bladder into the vagina all the time, and women cannot control the urine. The constant leaking of urine and the rotting of the tissue in the hole between the bladder and the vagina leads to a terrible odor. She developed skin sores, or infection around her private areas, as well as pain and discomfort. It leads to stigmatization by family members and most times, as in the case of Dorothy, to abandonment by their husbands. Dorothy is not alone. All women in this world are suffering the same thing. For many women in rural Nigeria, childbirth can become a tragedy that lasts a lifetime. Nigeria carries one of the largest burdens of obstetric fistula globally, with estimates suggesting hundreds of thousands of women are living with the condition and around 12,000 new cases emerging each year. Experts say the causes are deeply rooted in poverty, early marriage, poor access to healthcare, and shortage of skilled birth attendants. The stigma is often overwhelming. Many women lose their marriages, livelihoods, and social standing. Some researchers describe the condition as one of the most neglected maternal health crises in the world. But perhaps the biggest tragedy of all is that doctors say VVF is largely treatable with surgery and many cases preventable with timely obstetric care. Here at the Bingham University Teaching Hospital, Jos, surgeons perform hundreds of fistula repair surgeries each year, treating women from across Nigeria. Now, researchers working with the University of Nottingham are studying the social and medical barriers that keep women from accessing treatment, including stigma, poverty, and lack of awareness. Their research also focuses on rehabilitation and reintegration, helping survivors build their lives after surgery.
Fistula is not communicable. Fistula is not a cause. Fistula does not have a history different from other diseases. It's the same way you develop other surgical conditions that you also develop the problem of fistula. So we need to demystify this within the communities and talk to families and let them know that it is curable. And women that have fistula are not only able to live normal lives, but they are able to also get pregnant and have their children. There are many women that have had fistula that have children while living with fistula. And there are many other women that were successfully treated and then they go on to live their normal life and have children subsequently.
For survivors, the consequences go far beyond physical injury.
My husband died. He left me with the sickness and nobody to help me. Through this problem, I don't have child. I don't have any begin.
When I went back, the sickness started again. Then he sent me away. I went back to my mother. She too sent me away. I didn't know where to go. My mother rejected me, and my husband also rejected me. I don't wish anyone to go through what I went through. My advice is that more awareness be made about stigmatization of VVF patients. Specialists say awareness is critical. Studies show many women affected by fistula do not know the cause of the condition or where to seek treatment, sometimes living with it for years. Health advocates argue that expanding emergency obstetric care, delaying early marriage, and increasing access to skilled birth attendants will drastically reduce new cases.
The main goal is access to funds to allow women to have free access to maternal health services. So the challenge I see is the willingness of policymakers to make this to happen. We know we're in a resource-constrained environment, and resource is very scarce. And so that is the main challenge. For societies where this has been eradicated, women have free access to maternal health. But in our own society, we don't have that access.
All right, VVF, that is what we're looking at in Nigeria. We'll look at how preventable they are and the ability to cure from what we saw in that report and how to deal with the stigma that is associated with it. We have Dr. Hannah Dege, an associate professor at the University of Nottingham, UK, joining us now virtually. Thank you so much, Doc, and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I think I saw you in that report that just, played on air, and it's gratifying to know that there is even something that can be done about it, because many people had believed that VVF is a death sentence. Is it?
It isn't a death sentence, and that is why we're doing this initiative, Voices for Safe Motherhood. It isn't a death sentence, and I want to re-emphasize that this morning, that people need to come out, women need to come out, and most importantly, that we in the society need to put our hands together to stop this. Why would I say we should stop this? For me, I consider the existence or the prevalence of fistula as an 18th century condition in the 21st century when we have access to medical care. So why are we still having it in Nigeria? And that is why this initiative has started, that we hear it from the voices of the women that have gone through this. And I'm sure anyone that had watched those clips that were shown earlier, there's something that would have gone on in your heart. Why is it that a woman will go to have a baby and then begin to leak urine? And it's not only urine, it also could be feces, a woman leaking poo. This is unacceptable. So this initiative was being funded by University of Nottingham. I'm an assistant professor in the university in health promotion and public health. And this initiative is part of the research that I've done over the years, where I have looked at the lives and experiences of these women. And the trigger for me was last year when I did a co-creation workshop with women in Abuja, and where it was sad enough to hear that this case is still prevailing. And listening to these women, the question I asked them was, what do you want to change? And one of the women said, I don't want even my enemy to have this condition. That struck my heart. What can we do? And the women gave the reasons. They gave the things that they wanted to be done, and one of these is to have our story out there. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Dege, you've been researching into this. So what are the key revelations that have come out of your research?
Oh, the key one, which I would say is pathetic, is that we're having increasing numbers among. Earlier research shows that it's normally as a result of early marriage, and it's normally within first pregnancy, but we're having increasing cases of women that have multiple deliveries having this condition developed. Among some of our participants, we have women that had 8, 7, 9, 12 deliveries. And when they trace this back to what happened, most of the things are linked to what happened within our hospitals when they go in for delivery. And that brings up a very key thing. One of it is the issue of cost. The cost to pay for a C-section, because when fistula develops, the only solution is to have a cesarean section. And because of the level of poverty, and because of the deterioration in our society economically, who has the money to bring out 500,000, to say the least 300,000 to pay for it? And the other key thing that has also come out is the issue of lack of care and compassion when they are there. There are some horrible or horrifying tales about women being mistreated while they are there, or not having the healthcare personnel to take care of them, or not even having a doctor to do the C-section that is required to correct this thing. And so this is one of the key reasons why this conversation needs to come out, that we need to do something about it. Thank you.
So, in other words, is there a dearth of, doctors that can actually perform this in Nigeria at the moment?
So, first of all, I would like to maybe clarify that. Is there a dearth of doctors in treating fistula, or is there a dearth of doctor in carrying C-section?
I know that there are doctors that carry C-sections all over the place in Nigeria, but actually treating VVF is what I'm asking about.
All right, thank you very much. Nigeria has 25 dedicated fistula repair centers scattered across the country. And EVVF Center that you just saw is one of them, located in Jos, that's North Central Nigeria. So treatment is free at these dedicated fistula centers that were set up by the Federal Ministry of Health in Nigeria. And this cost is free. I'll repeat it, is free when you get there. And most people don't know that when you come in for repair, that is free. At the EVVF Center in Nigeria, in Jos, Nigeria, women are given all that they need during the period of treatment, so they don't have to pay when they come in there. So let everyone hear that when you have this condition, or you sat at home leaking urine or poo, please, there are fistula repair centers right across Nigeria where you can receive treatment and become dry. Thank you.
Now, Doctor, the critical question for me, because I've heard you describe this as an 18th century condition in 21st century Nigeria. I'm quoting your words now.
Yes.
And you've also said that there are 25 dedicated fistula repair centers across Nigeria, and treatment is free. So why do we have, or maybe the question really is, how do we get word across to women who are living with this condition, especially in rural Nigeria? Because across the major cities, people can easily get help. Very quickly.
This is why we're doing this initiative, to take the stories out. We all know that storytelling is one of the ways that we carry out, pass information from one generation to the other. And so far, effort has been done by the government of Nigeria in trying to eradicate fistula. But the key thing is that I feel that this is failing because the information is not out there for people to know the costs, as well as to know that fistula repair is free at the dedicated centers. And I'm re-emphasizing the dedicated centers. And why am I saying is because there are some hospitals that are trying to repair fistula and don't have the capacity to do it. Right. So going back to the question that you've asked me, people don't know. And that is why this initiative is going on. Okay. That this is a grassroots mobilization. That when people come across and hear this story, they understand why it is happening. Then we in the society begin to take power back. Because change can only happen when the community come together to take power back. And that is how we can address something that is long existing in our society, but has been eradicated, where you have access to free maternal health care. Okay. And one of the things that we're going to be doing afterwards, and maybe that I'm being presumptuous in the questions you're asking me, is how can we mobilize? How can the community mobilize in ensuring that we have free maternal health care? And even if it's not free, how can we subsidize it? Okay. How can we do this? And so we want these women to lead that as lionesses in ensuring that something is done because they don't want it to happen to their enemy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Hannah Dege, Associate Professor at the University of Nottingham in the UK, for talking to us this morning about VVF, that's VVF, vesicovaginal fistula, here in Nigeria. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best as you go ahead with this project.
Thank you for having me.
All right, to have a great day. We will be leaving this space now for Kakaaki Social. So this is where you get to hear your own comments on the social media space about what is happening and the trending stories around the world. Do stay tuned for Rena Obozege in a moment.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live. The issues as they break. The multitude, the political figures, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
And our government seem to be incapable of protecting.
The scheming.
This is not a period we should say bow and go.
Every part of this country is equal.
The intrigues.
There can be no one person that is bigger than the party.
Deft moves and the momentous declaration.
We didn't get any protection. I'm not particularly against anybody.
We track and capture them all.
I don't believe in godfatherism in politics.
Follow in-depth analysis and no-holds-barred interviews.
Armed forces of the country is well capable. They need the political will.
Are they just waking up from sleep? Is there complacency?
Feel the pulse of happenings in the political arena on AIT Democracy Today. Widely acclaimed authority on politics. Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time.
Hello everyone, excellent morning to you and happy Salah, small Salah to all of you, our Muslim friends and brethren out there celebrating today. Please remember to call me should there be meat around you or something. We've broken the fast, so meat here will come. All right, everyone, this is Kakaaki Social on Kakaaki, the African Voice, and we have reactions that are trailing the about 2,000 Nigerians in the United Kingdom who are set to be deported under a new deal signed on Thursday, just yesterday, as part of agreement that were reached during President Bola Tinubu's visit to the country. Now, Nigeria's Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji Ojo and the UK Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood signed the deal. Now, of the 2,000, we have 961 who failed asylum from Nigeria and asylum seekers, and we have 1,110 Nigerians currently in UK prison, and those are the numbers that were affected. The date of commencement was not immediately announced. It is also unclear if Nigeria has been offered any financial benefits for receiving the deportees or whether they will include non-Nigerians. But yeah, we see the signing right there and the reactions that have followed. In reaction to this, Omeshi says, I think it is better to receive them, that's Nigerians, at home, than lock them up or put them away until the correctional facilitators see them fit to enter back into the Nigerian society, which they have been away from for years, so they won't start stealing or causing more mayhem. Also, in reaction from ex-Giraffe Crypto says, man is trying every means to bring frustrated people so that whatever you offer them to use them as political tools, they will not waste time to accept the offer. Yet, nothing is being fixed for the well-being of the citizens. In another reaction, Ubong Essien says, to you, they are criminals, but to the colonial masters, they are your next set of senators, governors, first ladies. Once they are back, join a party where they get washed up white as snow. Ordained by GO, just prepare to worship them. All right, some more conversations will be. And just to mention that for 4 years ago, the UK, under the Conservative government, has struck a deal, and that deal was to give Rwanda $370 million, approximately to $650 billion people who were seeking asylum. Now, the Labour government of Keir Starmer, upon assuming office in July 2024, struck down the pact. So we're not sure if Nigeria will be getting any money for this we have done or signed to do. 2,000 criminals and prisoners, people who failed to secure asylum based on whatever they would have announced to the government right there. But let's move to another story. This one is that netizens are dragging the NSA Nuhu Ribado and the Minister of Art, Culture and the Creative Economy of Nigeria, that's Annatu Musawa. Of course, you know that they made the 86th number of people who made the president's entourage to the UK for the state visit. I mean, that 86 was given to us on Kakaaki on Wednesday by one of our guests who we spoke to alongside our diplomatic correspondent Ijoma Osamo. So those are the videos trending right there. And we have conversations around it. Particularly, the NSA Ribado is being dragged for being there, making videos, looking all excited and interested in the trip, while back home in Nigeria, he should actually be advising the president on our way out of insecurity. So that's why he's trending alongside Anatsu, because she made the real, like a short video to highlight herself right there. I mean, she's looking really beautiful, and her attire right there is all that, is giving all that it should be given, but the focus is on NSA Ribado. Look at the two of them right there. All right, let's see what you make of this video. Duke of Nigeria says Nuhu Ribado enjoying his life in London while Nigerians are getting killed by terrorists. 3 bombs exploded in Maiduguri on the day they traveled to London, but look at how happy they are. They don't care about the lives of the poor. In another reaction to this, Idel Fenter says both of them can't sit in an open arcade in Nigeria without an armored personal carrier with anti-aircraft gun mounted on 2 hillocks, and someone has said that's impossible, like they can't dare it here in Nigeria. Daniel Buhala, he says one thing that is not debatable, our leaders have zero in capital letter, zero respect or empathy for us. That's why I laugh at any talk about optics. These people do not see you as the same type of human that they are. How can they care for optics? Do they rate you? Do they fear you? That's Daniel Buhala, not the one that you know. Spot Dokita says, this is the NSA boss laughing and making merry when he's clearly failing at his job. The NSA is in charge of advising the president on all matters relating to national security and coordinating the entire security architecture of the country. Guess what? Barely hours after a bomb blast in Maiduguri, he flew out to London to laugh, dine, and make merry. He says he just went there to laugh. And JB says this has always been the Nigerian overused script to attack any government official on a visit to foreign land. And this is a toxic reality we need to bin. Nigerian military fraud an attack and eliminated more than 80 ISWAP members with pictures and footages for your self-consumption. Neither you nor anyone posed to amplify the victory, but you are here cherry-picking on 2 national treasures for riding to a meeting station. Posts like this authenticate my age-old belief about the ingenuity of people like you who post about national security. Well, that's that from that side, defending the national treasure that, well, there was a need and they had to be there. Well, away from that, still on the visit, we have police in Witsel who moved that they wanted to detain a solo Nigerian protester during the state visit of President Bola Tinubu to the United Kingdom. The protester was seen holding a placard with allegations against the Nigerian president and Vice President Kashim Shettima. Maybe you should hear him for yourself.
Nigeria, you are power. Tinubu of Nigeria, you are Tinubu, stop killing Nigerians. Tinubu, stop killing Nigerians. The Vice President of Nigeria is a terrorist. The Vice President of Nigeria is a terrorist.
All right, there you went. Let's go to Instagram to take reactions to this. 6 actually, but 2 in 1 for each slide. Bright Family _1 says Nigerians never suffer rich. I can't believe that man was the only man really speaking up and feeling the heat in Nigeria. I've been only online the country had. I mean, if you reach places like airport, shopping malls, everywhere choke. But we don't have money online. Why is it like that? Sir _Irabo says that guy represented everyone that went to work. Another user still from Instagram, School Binero says, only one voice for UK. That should say a lot. Guy just fight Guy, just fight for your head, though. If you try fight for Nigeria, Nigerians might lose guard you. Moss_J says, the fact that they all know what he is saying is true is fascinating. Well, I didn't know about that. Blaze Ika says, but why is the president not visiting United States of America? That guy said he has to visit them. Modukpe44 says, arrest him and deport the guy to Nigeria. So those are your thoughts coming from Instagram. Still on that visit, we have Nigerian singer Tiwa Savage that is trending right now, and that's because of our appearance during the state visit of President Bola Tinubu to the London. Now, this picture that you have on your screen is circulating on social media, and it shows the Afrobeat star present at the event, apparently at the dinner. So she was officially invited because as I searched on, I saw the invitation card addressed to her. We'll see that. And then her name is also on the guest list on the UK website. But it seems that you don't want to know that. I mean, do I say interestingly, this picture has taken netizens back to the lyrics of one of her songs where she sang about not wanting to suffer and aligning with politicians. Okay, maybe she gave us a hint then, as you say, but let's take reactions first. And I did that video this morning with the lyrics right there. X-Spirit says, is she part of the escort? In what capacity is she on a state visit to Tinubu? When you cry of your celebrities not lending their voices to situations in the country, they will rub the psychophancy on your faces. Another user, Kalu Jr. says, because we are not happy with the government doesn't mean Tiwa should decline a royal invitation. We are all hypocrites. No Nigerian will reject that invitation. Politics aside, prestige aside, privilege aside. I mean, people like me will be there before we even reach HR, or that it's like we are traveling somewhere. Thatcher says, for those of you dragging Tiwa Savage for attending a royal dinner, I genuinely want to understand the logic. Are you should have declined an official down? Have another user antecedent, but your question is misplaced. Reacting to Tasha, the last reaction, he said, girl, I had 100 million naira in my doorstep twice. If you stand for nothing, you will fall for everything. The reason Nigeria is a disgraced nation is because of greed by those who should speak up to save our nation. I just remember that I forgot to add the invitation card, but yeah, I saw that also. Tat Michael says the cost of this visit, if deployed to education, can build viable schools for millions of out-of-school children in the country. Please bookmark this. After the return, the spokesperson for the government will tell us most people went to the UK with their personal phones, but we all know how this thing works. So yeah, those are the reactions right there. Let's see some more conversations, because we have a video right there of Tiwa Savage, of that video and the lyrics that Nigerians are now projecting to say, she told us, but you were not listening. So I made attempts to put the lyrics right there by the side and then the video from TikTok on our account. So let's see, maybe is that what is playing out right now? Let's see. You caught me dancing. All right, let's move away from Tiwa Savage and go on to, well, a political story now, but we've come home. We have former presidential candidate Peter Obi saying that he's not sure of getting the presidential ticket of the African Democratic Congress ahead of 2027 elections. According to him, the ticket is not something you can say is automatic, as the party stakeholders would decide who eventually...
You know, when you're not saying all of things, the government is after you, attacking whatever you do, your business, everywhere you go. This person say, oh, you should stop coming here.
All right, let's see what you make of this uncertainty over getting the ticket. Endurance King says, what concerns the federal government in an opposition matter? Are you saying that the others in ADC were ready to give you the ticket without a fight? All these allegations, no follow, I beg. You should have remained in Labour Party. I wonder what made you join the coalition. Also, in reaction to this development, is another reactions coming from X, KSJ. It says, instead of him to just tell his supporters that he has settled for the VP position, he is here deceiving his supporters. Still more thought to this. Farm with Gifty says, Nigerians don't deserve your blood, Mr. Peter Obi. Please leave them to keep romancing their oppressors. Another thought also, Jimo4 says, at some point, Peter Obi needs to start dishing out money. This no shishi politics won't work, especially in Nigeria. Also, in reaction to trends this morning, we have a trending video online that is showing a senior police officer instructing a junior colleague on how to collect money from motorists. In the video, the senior colleague had called the attention of the junior one. Well, he was first confronted the junior officer for collecting money from a commercial tricycle, call it Kakaaki, and he made sure that he submitted all the money on his bonnet, I have to call it, and then he now told him how to collect money, that if anything ever happens, make sure you're collecting money from cars and not Kakaaki, call them aside, detect a problem, take them to the station, and then collect big money from them. And you have to make sure that you are doing things in secret.
Money. Drop all the money. Drop all the money. Yes. Drop all of them. Finish.
But why now? Okay. Why? The police says you to collect money on the road. Your work is to prevent crime, understand? Not to collect money, not to tax this KK. It's not duty to tax them. You're not to prevent crime. This people is not good. It's eyesore. It's eyesore. It's not good. Look at. Your salary a day. Is it not past this thing? Your salary a day. A day. How much are they paying inspector of police? Look at the people embarrassing and disgracing yourself. It's not good. If you want to collect money, bank money to detect offense. Tell the person of association. No such a secret. Why can't you turn the line of road?
There you went, where we simply thought that he was condemning the act. He was actually teaching him how to do it and even get much more from that sort of attitude. Oluwafemi says, not just advising him to stop extorting motorists on the road, but giving him a better way to extort bigger amount than his salary. Because apparently, this 200 naira is small. The entire force is rotten from top to bottom. Shaking my head is SMH. On social media, Eye Opener says, if you understand Nigerian police structure very well, you will not be fooled by those statements you see from police PROs online. It is a competition of extortion between roadside officers and the ones in the office who should extort more. It's never about police corruption. Those are your thoughts right there. Let's see our final story for today, which is that the Minister of Power, His Excellency Royal Highness Adelabu, he's away from Nigeria, of course, for prayers, say in Mecca or something. And netizens chose to single him out of all the pictures online and say, Mr. Minister, you cannot be praying to God at this good time where God answers prayers more, if that's the case, when we don't have electricity back home here. And they've called him out simply because of this picture that went viral. Let's see some comments to this picture on the space of X and what netizens have said so far. This user, it says, meanwhile, Nigerians sweat through blackout, pay inflated bills, and watch businesses stall while the minister is halfway across the world praying. Faith is fine, but leadership demands action, not spiritual outsourcing. People need power, not prayers with a side of neglect. Another thought to this one, Mr. Sen says, he is not God. It's only God that can command light. He is only human and can't give light. No one have the right to disturb him. Relax. Tinubu is fixing Nigeria. Shettima will handle the security while Tinubu will handle the economy. Now, una they expect good thing when una vote empty heads. That's taking us back to the campaign season there, where the then presidential candidate and the VP had told us that they will swap roles. Tinubu would do money, the VP Shettima would do security. Unpopular opinion says, I guess he is praying for the power to magically work. He's laughing and he says, it's the level of negligence we experience in this country that is alarming. This clearly shows that the fact people are suffering over his incompetence doesn't bother him. It's really hurting. Beleo, unpopular opinion. The meme imam says, these are the issues. I believe it's about time for these foreign countries to start conducting a public poll on social media to decide whether they should allow a public politician to enter their nations, especially given the corruption. Why would a minister like this be permitted to waste taxpayers' money on a visit to the Holy Land while the citizens struggle in poverty? So those are the comments right there. And RUC is then asking, should he leave his faith because of his work? As I mentioned, those are the conversations going on the space of social media. We'd like to thank you so much for doing today, your week, your Salah morning with us on Kakaaki, the African Voice, and yes, on Kakaaki Social. I'm Rena Obio. Please and please and please, Salah meat is the sweetest kind of meat you can ever have. Send me a message at Rena Obio. Let me get my meat. All right, thank you. We have to run. AIT_online is our handle, so you can also tag us to the stories you want to see on Kakaaki Social.
Yes, OPay has protected how the people pay. Every day, we move money to keep life going. Through our daily hustle of trying to make ends meet. Through the responsibilities we carry. And when the day's done, we rest easy because we've got extra cover. And because we're confident in the security we've built, we're backing it. Introducing Extra Cover, an extra layer of assurance on your OPay account. So you can send, pay, save, and move through life with peace of mind. Backed up to 5 million naira. The People's Payment Shield, now with Extra Cover.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet comes with the nutrients they need every day. Made from natural grains, contains protein and fortified with iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Focus, Nigeria. It's a huge task, but we take it on.
Ask him where is the law.
National Assembly is not doing hearing on insecurity in Nigeria. It is America that is doing hearing on insecurity in Nigeria.
Monday to Friday on Focus Nigeria, we identify the nagging issues.
Some people put people in poverty deliberately, deliberate misplacement of priorities, and brought people on their knees to suffer.
We seek answers to the tough challenges.
And because of
for
this
the former president,
yes.
what I know is that he has not turned his membership card. He has not been attending your meeting.
Leave that to us to deal with.
There's no shying away from the issues.
The system is held accountable. The leaders are accountable for the funds, for the resources that they manage.
No sitting on the fence.
The same thing that made you live where you are may confront you.
Focus Nigeria, 10 a.m., Monday to Friday on AIT.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us on Kakaaki, the African Voice, this Friday morning. And if you're just joining us, we say Eid Mubarak to you as you celebrate the Eid al-Fitr today. Now, let's talk about something. We did tell you at the beginning of the program that this program today is completely about her gender.
My gender, yeah.
It's for the women.
No, not just my gender. Men also do skincare, so don't get that.
Well, we're talking about skincare now.
Skincare should actually be about everybody.
She's let the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
Okay, but you know, across Nigeria, skincare industry is a booming one right now, but it continues to spark conversations about beauty, health, and identity. And from the markets and beauty stores in Lagos to the cosmetic shops here in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, skincare and skin lightening products have become a major part of everyday beauty routines. And of course, that is the story we're telling this morning. Anyole Avotu of our newsroom has a story on that, and then we'll come back and talk about beauty and skincare on this show.
Experts say some skincare products can be highly effective when properly formulated and used correctly. Quality creams and treatments can help manage acne, dark spots, sun damage, and other skin conditions, helping users maintain healthier skin.
Aesthetic nursing is a branch of nursing that is under dermatology. And so basically what we do is to help get the skin back to normal functioning with the use of some equipment dermatologically tested and accepted, and also the use of cosmetics like FDA approved products that are soothing for the skin and can help the skin restore itself back to normal function.
In a country like Nigeria, where strong sunlight and tropical weather naturally influence darker skin pigmentation, medical experts say the skin's melanin actually serves as protection against the sun. Using the wrong cream products can lead to severe skin damage, including thinning of the skin, stretch marks, sunburns, discoloration, and increased sensitivity to sunlight.
Sometimes if I use the cream, I entered sun, I used to have a sunburn. So I prefer to use it only at night.
However, the growing demand for lighter skin tones has also fueled the widespread use of bleaching products. This raises important questions. Why do many Black Africans feel the need to lighten their natural skin tone?
Some people want to look good. You know, when you mostly some skincare will make you lighter, and some people feel if you're lighter in complexion, you look more beautiful. So I think that's why they want to be more beautiful, outstanding, and
You know, a lot of customers, they like to bleach, and that one is no good. I know we want to look beautiful, you understand, but there is some treatments as supplement, as glutathione supplements. She can use it to take it. It will help to brighten her skin than she use these chemicals products to damage the skin.
It's their choice. It's everybody's choice. You can see your body now and say, okay, I want to bleach myself because I see this person bleaching. Me now, I see my skin like this. I like it because this is my natural skin.
Okay. I like a very glowing skin, and my skin type is kind of a dry skin. I don't consider bleaching. I'm not a fan of bleaching because it damaged my skin, and I don't want my skin to be damaged because I feel that natural is the best for me. I'm a very natural person, as you can see. No makeup, nothing. I'm an African woman that I don't believe in makeup. You should be proud of your skin color, and I am proud of my skin color, and that's why I don't want anything to come between me and my skin.
In more serious cases, prolonged misuse of certain products may lead to infections, organ stress, or other long-term health complications. Despite these risks, the skincare industry in Nigeria continues to grow rapidly. Local specialists and manufacturers say the business brings economic opportunities, but also challenges including consumer misconceptions, regulation concerns, and the pressure to produce safe and effective products in a highly competitive market.
Another thing you want to look out for, skin ulcers, injuries that are not healing quickly. You see that you've been having this injury for a particular period of time and it's not healing. It's time for you to go for a proper check to see a dermatologist and know what is going on there. Moles that are irregular, looking different in shapes and in size, every single time you look at it, it's looking differently. There might be melanoma. Melanoma is a skin cancer, and it kills very fast. So you want to make sure that when you notice things that are not, unusual moles on your skin, you want to quickly go check that out. Early detection can prevent skin cancer.
Health professionals are advising Nigerians to carefully research skincare products, understand your skin type, and seek guidance from trained specialists before using any strong cosmetic treatments. The message remains clear. Healthy skin should always come before beauty trends. And Nyole Abotu, AIT News, Abuja.
All right, thank you for that report. Of course, we'll be delving more into this conversation, talking about the pros and cons of skin care, particularly bleaching products. So we have Oluwatomise Ademujemi, a beauty products developer and a cosmetics chemist, joining us for this conversation. We do hope an aesthetic cosmetic expert, Dr. Deborah O'Malley, will join us much later on the program. So thank you, Oluwatomise, and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
All right, before that report, by our reporter, I and Kunle were talking, and he said it's my gender's issue, skincare. So help us understand whether skincare is really about women.
No, not really.
So
it's implied in the definition, the word itself, skincare. It's the process of taking care of your skin, and that should not be gender-based. I feel like it should be encompassing. It should involve everyone. So both men and women, the same process applies to everyone. It's a little bit different for men because they have beard care and a little extra for themselves. But generally, the process of taking care of your skin is about cleansing, hydrating, and then protecting your skin from the sun.
So your hair is not just about men. Even you having your clean shave, and ensuring that you don't have bumps and all of that is also skincare.
It is skincare because your beard is part of your skin.
Yeah, but I don't have one. I shaved it off.
That's part of taking care of the skin.
Let's talk about the skin. Each time you talk about the skin, I know people who use a different cream for their hands. They use a different one for their faces. They use different ones for the rest of the body. But I understand that the skin is just one organ of the body. So what does this imply? Using different things for different parts of your skin?
Okay, so I'll start with the face. Now, as we are right now, the only part of your skin that I can visibly see is your face. And that is also the most part of the skin that gets the sun exposure. So when it comes to skincare, you cannot talk about skincare without talking about sun protection or sun exposure now in case. So when the reason why we have several products for the face, for the body, for the hand is because of the different exposure that this part of our body has to the sun. So for your face now, your face gets the sun every single time. So the ingredients and the number of actives, we call them actives in skincare, that goes into your facial care is a little bit more concentrated than the ones that go to your body care. So for your body, you have your minimal routine, your shea butters, your cocoa butters. Now, if you use those on your face, you could complicate your skincare. So for your face, you need to go a little bit gentler because of that sun exposure. So that's why there are different skincare products for different parts of the body. Not necessarily different in the treatments, but a little bit of higher concentrations, and they differ as your routine goes. So that's why we have it like that.
So it's a whole lot of work to take care of the skin.
Not a whole lot of work, because the work is being done by us. So we've done the work for you. Okay. We've gone into the lab and put together what your face requires, what your body needs, and what your hands need. All you have to do is just go on there, pick what you need for your body and your face differently, and just use it.
So how do I know what product, goes for me? Okay, there are people who are light-skinned. There are people who have got what we call chocolate skin. There are people who are dark-skinned. How do you know which of the products you have to use, and how do you go about it without mentioning a name of a product that would make you pay us for this program?
Okay. Okay, I'll do my best.
By that I mean the ingredients really that you require for.
Okay, I would say for your face, for skincare, it's not about your skin color particularly. It's more about your skin type. And I feel that that's the education that is a little bit missing when we talk about skincare of today, Nigerian skincare industry. There's not much education about skin types. So there are different skin types: oily skin, combination skin, dry skin. I think those are the basic ones. And then we have the acne-prone skins and the little extra treatments skins. So when it comes to choosing what works for you, you need to understand your skin type first. Your skin type aligns you with the routine that fits you. And then we talk about lifestyle, the kind of environment you are. Those are like secondary factors that you consider when you want to choose your skincare. So for ingredients, I don't want to go into the technicalities of skincare, but I would say go for hydration. Hydration is one of the most important things, especially due to our climate, our weather in Nigeria. The humidity is quite high compared to the US, the United States. So we need to focus more on hydrating the skin, because once you step out, the sun is taking so much moisture from your skin, it's sapping your glow. That's why we have so many people with skin dullness, hyperpigmentation, and those little pesky things. So the first key thing to focus on for your skin is your skin type. Your skin type tracks down to what you now use. There are some people who require a little bit more, I don't want to call them ash ingredients, but when you use them typically, and it's not your skin type, it could cause you more damage. We have the skin barrier, and that's what we're looking at right here, the outer skin. And you need to protect your skin barrier as you go. So protection of your skin barrier means you have to understand what works for your skin. I'll give an ingredient, for instance. Salicylic acid is very good for people with oily skins because it helps to control the oil that is on their face. I have an oily skin. When I came in, the first thing they told me was to, do a little bit of dapping my skin. Compared to someone who has a dry skin, a typical dry skin person would use salicylic acid, and it will cause more dryness because that's what it's supposed to do. So it is in educating yourself that you understand that when you see salicylic acid on the bottle and you have a dry skin, you don't go for it. You just take your time and go for hyaluronic acid because it's more hydrated.
So people should actually take labeling seriously. All creams
read what is on the products. Make sure you have not the in-depth knowledge of what you're buying, but at least have a layman knowledge of what you're looking at, and let's read the functions on the product. Does it say good for oily skin? Do you have an oily skin? There are so many tests on how to know the oily skin, but I don't think I want to go into the details.
Because I wanted to find out how do I get to know, apart from knowing that your body is oily, you may not actually know whether your body is harsh.
Let's go to the elephant in the room, really. Bleaching. Skin bleaching. Quite a large number of Nigerians want to look lighter. They want their skin to be lighter than they ordinarily are. So they buy a combination of soaps, they have lotions, they have all kinds of things that they use on their skin. Some call it toning, some call it lightening, but it's, as far as I know, it's pure bleaching. So what what's the difference between lightening, toning, and bleaching?
Okay.
And what are the dangers?
Okay. Let me just start by saying lightening is not the issue, or wanting to brighten your skin is not the problem. It is when you seek, let me call it alternative measures now, that is the problem, or when you're overdoing it. Okay, so the instance I will give is lightening is a process of trying to remove let me call them no, not dead cells, that's exfoliation. Okay. They're different now. So lightening is a process of removing, let me call it hyperpigmentation. Sometimes when people have acne, when they break out now, there's so many, when the old pus is out, they are left with dark spots. And those spots, scars, sometimes it takes forever to heal. And when you're looking at someone who has a dark spot, you can fundamentally tell that this person, that's not that person's color. Now, someone who is sensitive about their dark spots could seek to lightening it so that it matches blends with the skin color. Like I said, so it is not the process of wanting to do that is the problem. It is when you now want to change your entire skin color, like me wanting to be your color. That's when bleaching that's when the word bleaching now comes to play. And there's so many variants of it. We have people washing all the way from head to toe. We have people using products that contain really sensitive chemicals just to achieve that. So, and I feel like the Nigerian skincare industry right now, we're trying our best to take that bleaching situation away from the whole thing, because it has become more of a part of skincare, and it's not supposed to be. So skincare is not bleaching. Bleaching, I don't want to say is skincare. I'll call it a lifestyle choice now. It could be skincare, but it's more of a lifestyle choice. It's not ideal for you to want to change your skin color from being a dark-skinned person to a light-skinned person, except for some very, let me call them isolated cases, like pregnant people. When women are pregnant, sometimes their colors could change from being light-skinned to being dark-skinned. Now, someone like that could consider trying a very, very high concentration of brightening their skin. We all know this person used to be light-skinned, and now they are dark-skinned due to something natural. So that is very okay to do. But brightening, skin bleaching has so many, I don't know the words to use now, but it has so many, I'm losing
Searching for the word.
Exactly.
Okay, maybe disadvantages.
Disadvantages, thank you. And
can it cause damage to the skin?
Yes, skin thinning is one of its damages, because the more you try to remove the melanin that your skin produces, the more your skin gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And when you continue, your veins start to actually show, because your skin is going through so much. And that process could also expose the skin to several infections. And also, we have the big C word that I don't want to exactly use or say, and many other things.
Is it a harmful word?
No, I'm just trying to be sensitive.
You're talking about skin cancer?
Skin cancer, yes.
No, we should talk about it.
Yeah, these are issues.
Because these are the issues about skin care. Because it's important for us to understand that there's a difference between caring for your skin and causing harm to your skin and probably your other organs.
Yes.
So let's talk about it.
Skin cancer is one of the biggest problems of bleaching your skin, because you're exposing your skin to so much damages. And the problem with bleaching is when you start, you can't stop, because you are alternating a natural thing. You have to continue to maintain that color, or else you start to go back to your original color. And the more you do, the more damage you're causing. The less you do, the more damage you're causing. Once you're on that journey, I would say it's hard for them to stop, but the more they do, the more damage that is done. And the more they continue to do, the more damage that is done. Skin cancer, skin thinning, infections. We have some people that when you see them, their skin, their cheek area is kind of burnt. and it's irreversible sometimes. Most times it's irreversible, but it takes like consistent treatment. Wanting to commit to a certain type of treatment over and over for a long time, 6 months, 1 year, before those corrections can be made. So I really don't know why people do it. I don't want to judge anyone's, like I said it's a lifestyle choice if you bleach your skin. It's not skincare. It's you making a choice and, sticking to it. And I wish more people will get desensitized about skin bleaching, especially in Nigeria.
Okay, we're wrapping up in a few minutes. But tell us the do's and don'ts when it comes to beauty and skincare. You have talked a bit about not bleaching your skin. I've heard people say they go to, is it bath? I don't know what.
Spa.
Is it? It's not. No, it's not spa. There's a word they use for it. Because I haven't tried it, I don't know what it's called. But they say it's kind of washing everything
from head to toe.
Yeah. So what's the word? Really?
I'm not in the bleaching business, so I don't know what it's called.
Okay, but what harm does that do as well?
The do's of skincare would be to. Number one thing I always emphasize for Nigerians is sun protection. The sun is not your friend when it comes to skincare. So you have to make sure that you have your sun protection on top every time. Wear your SPF.
The one they call sunscreen?
Sunscreen, yes. SPF 50, 60, 70, 95, as high as you can go. 30 is okay too. Sun protection is very important. And every day, make sure you go through 3 basic rituals for your skincare. Do your cleansing, do your hydration. You talked about toning the other time. The word itself might have been used in different contexts to mean bleaching, but toning is actually a step in skincare. It's when you apply a liquid form of, I'll call it skincare. It's like water, yeah, but it has a lot more benefits than, water itself, but the base is water. Toning is very good because it supplies that hydration for your skin, and while you step out in the sun, you're not losing so much moisture to that sun, and also moisturizing your skin, sealing it, and ensuring that all day long your skin stays supple and soft. The don't is don't dabble into bleaching. For whatever reason, don't bleach your skin. Don't use anything that would damage your skin. Avoid harsh products. Avoid harsh processes when you're taking care of your skin. The softer, the better. Be delicate. Treat your skin like it's a baby. Care for it. Be careful with it. You don't have to use so many products, contrary to what people see on social media, especially young people on social media. We overconsume information telling us to use so many things on our skins. It shouldn't be. The less, the more, the better.
Are there specialists that one can visit if they really want that specialist attention? Quickly, we're going.
Yes, we have dermatologists. We have cosmetologists. These are people who will check your skin and tell you if there are certain treatments that you should use. We also have estheticians. Those are people who work in spas, who do quick facials for you. This can be done like 1-2 times a month, and then you have your skin. And then you have people like us who formulate the products and give it to you and say, you don't have to worry about going anywhere. We have you back.
We'll do it. So you drop your contact for us. We'll share it for those who will be interested in contacting you. That will be after here, so we can.
We have to go now. Thank you very
so much for having me
morning.
It's a pleasure.
Oluwatomishi Ademu, Jimmy, beauty products developer and cosmetics chemist, talking to us about the pros and cons of skincare and, of course, bleaching. Don't bleach, she has said. I'm quoting her now. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right, then it's still Kakaaki, the African voice. It's Friday, remember? So we'll be bringing you entertainment and lifestyle.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment and Lifestyle on Kakaaki, the African voice. I am Chidera Isudu. The city of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, came alive when the son of the soil, Afrobeat, reggae, dancehall singer, songwriter, and Grammy winner Damini Ogulu, popularly known as Burna Boy, visited his home country on a courtesy visit to the managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Samuel Ubuku, and the commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt. The update singer was accompanied by his father, Samuel Ogulu, and the purpose of the multi-award-winning singer's visit was to seek the intervention of the NDDC in the areas of road network, health, education, and access to potable water in his rural community, Obogolo, in Ahoda West local government area of the state.
Recently, I came to the realization that where I'm from is almost non-existent, and we're almost like the most forgotten people in the whole history of Nigeria. Because when I got there, when I saw it was literally a jungle. You know, with no water, no hospitals, no nothing. This is really why I came here, because NDDC is really the only ones that can really do something about that.
And indeed, the partnership was welcomed by the MD NDDC, Samuel Obuko, who described Burna Boy as one of the biggest assets of the Niger Delta region, and has agreed to partner the musician, who would in turn use his talent and image to boost the socio-economic growth of the Niger Delta region.
You coming here and believing in us, it means a lot to us. So we also have to reciprocate. So we'll start with the solar lights. Then we'll also look at internal roads in the community and also the road linking the community.
NDDC's Obuko described Port Harcourt and the entire people of Niger Delta as peace-loving, noting that Burna Boy's regular visit to the region would open up lots of opportunities for the people. In a swift response, ace filmmaker and chief executive officer Wale Adenuga Production has spoken on the issue of the veteran comic character Papa Jasko being broke and has dismissed the claims as untrue, describing them as misunderstanding taken out of context. Adenuga explained that the character, which has entertained audiences for decades through the long-running family comedy series, remains an active and successful intellectual property. He emphasized that the franchise is still relevant, with continued presence in reruns, digital platforms, and legacy media, which keeps the brand alive and valuable. According to him, discussions around the character's financial status were misinterpreted, stressing that fictional characters do not possess personal wealth in real sense, and therefore cannot be described as broke or financially unstable. He further noted that the popularity of Papa Jasko and associated characters reflects the enduring impacts of the Wale Adenuga Production brand, which has contributed significantly to Nigeria's entertainment industry over the years. Fans of the sitcom have also taken to social media to react, with many expressing nostalgia, while others clarified that the headline was misleading. But for now, the clarification puts to rest the speculations, reaffirming that Papa Jasko remains one of Nigeria's most iconic comedy figures, still enjoying cultural relevance rather than financial distress. Controversy has trailed comments made by Nigerian singer Portable after he questioned the career progression of artists who exit Maven Records. In a recent outburst, Portable suggested that some artists tend to struggle to maintain the same level of success after leaving the label, implying that Maven Records play a significant role in shaping and sustaining their careers. His remarks quickly sparked reactions across social media, with fans, critics, and industry observers weighing in on the debate, while some users echoed his sentiments, arguing that record labels provide structure, promotion, and strategic guidance, while strongly disagreed, insisting that individual talent, consistency, and branding ultimately determines an artist's long-term success. As the conversations continue to trend online, Portable's comments have once again stirred debate about artist development, label influence, and what it truly takes to sustain relevance in Nigeria's competitive music industry. That is on Entertainment and Lifestyle. I am Chidera Izudu.
All right, thank you so much for that entertainment and lifestyle package. Of course, so what a good way to actually wrap up the conversation here on Kakaaki, the African voice, on this Salah holiday. Let's take a few comments just before we go. Okay. Someone is asking, Atunkoli, has Nigeria really arrived? That was about our conversation on Nigeria arriving, as we read on the papers. Well, we are happy that we are being recognized outside, and we hope that is replicated back home. I think that's what we said. So we hope that happens so that Nigeria will truly arrive for many Nigerians. And then for this last conversation, someone says, Tumishe, bleaching can also be a self-esteem problem. Yeah. So
that's to me, Lara, saying that this morning. So anyway, we got to go now. Thank you for being part of the program. For all of you who watched and sent in your comments, we thank you. We couldn't read all of them, but we thank you for being there. We ask you to join us again on Monday for a fresh edition of the program. My name is Kunle Adewale. Eid Mubarak. Have a great weekend, and whatever you do, please stay safe.
All right, indeed. I'm Koli Omodo. Have a great celebration out there.